What sets AIR2 and AIR3 apart in UPSC CSE 2024? They didn't wait to feel ready. They started smart with the GS Foundation course at Vision IS Delhi. Structured learning, focused current affairs, real mentorship, test feedback that actually helps you grow. This course isn't just about study hours, it's about direction, clarity and the strategy toppers trust. Start strong. Start where toppers started.
UPSC preparation is not just about reading books or watching online lectures. It requires personal guidance, real discussions, and structured practice. This is where offline mentoring makes all the difference. Unlike online learning, where doubts often remain unresolved, offline mentoring offers direct interaction, real-time feedback, and an environment of discipline and competition. One-to-one sessions help students get tailored advice, strategy corrections, and focused improvement. Every aspirant has different strengths and weaknesses. Personal mentoring helps address them effectively. Ground discussions sharpen analytical thinking and help students develop a multi-dimensional perspective on issues crucial for prelims, mains, and interview. Elocution sessions help in personality development, clarity of thought, and confidence, essential for UPSC interviews. Test writing is the most crucial part of UPSC preparation. It helps in time management, structuring answers, and improving content quality. Offline mentoring is not just about teaching, it's about grooming future officers with the right guidance, discipline, and confidence. So if you are preparing for UPSC, make sure you have the right mentor by your side.
Are you still juggling newspapers, random notes, and endless PDFs trying to make sense of current affairs? Let's make your UPSC prep smarter. Introducing Digital Current Affairs Premium by Vision IAS, your all-in-one platform to read, revise, and write better every single day. Have a doubt from today's news or something in your syllabus? Just ask and get instant AI-powered answers that are concise, relevant, and completely aligned with the UPSC exam pattern. No more guesswork, no more confusion. Want to boost your mains writing skills? Practice daily with structured questions and get expert feedback to sharpen your content, clarity, and analysis, because writing well is winning half the battle. Need better revision? Use quick notes and highlights to save key points, mark important lines, and organize your current affairs in a way that actually works for you. And here's the best part, some of the most powerful tools are absolutely free. Daily news summaries from The Hindu, Indian Express, and more, curated, filtered, and exam ready. Downloadable PDFs so your notes stay organized and accessible. Daily quizzes and MCQs to reinforce what you've learned and track your progress. A smart student dashboard to monitor your performance and stay on top of your goals. Whether you're just starting or deep into your prep, Digital Current Affairs Premium adapts to your strategy and makes every minute count. So why prepare the hard way when you can prepare the smart way? Visit www.visionis.in/current-affairs and start transforming your current affairs prep today. Because with Vision IAS, you don't just stay updated, you stay ahead. UPSC CSE 2024 results are out and dreams have turned into ranks. Now you are asking, how do I get there? You've got the drive. What you need is the right guidance. Lakshya Integrated Mentoring Program 2026 by Vision IAS is your one-stop guidance program for prelims, mains, and interview. Smart, strategic revision for prelims and mains. Consistent mentorship with personalized feedback. Daily weekly schedule and practice targets. Custom test practice via Sandhan test series. Interview and personality test training. All of it structured to guide you, strategic to keep you focused, and designed to meet your evolving needs. New batch starts from 19th May. It's your turn now. Start strong with Lakshya Mentoring Program 2026.
What sets AIR2 and AIR3 apart in UPSC CSE 2024? They didn't wait to feel ready. They started smart with the GS Foundation course at Vision IAS Delhi. Structured learning, focused current affairs, real mentorship, test feedback that actually helps you grow. This course isn't just about study hours, it's about direction, clarity, and the strategy toppers trust. Start strong. Start where toppers started.
UPSC preparation is not just about reading books or watching online lectures. It requires personal guidance, real discussions, and structured practice. This is where offline mentoring makes all the difference. Unlike online learning, where doubts often remain unresolved, offline mentoring offers direct interaction, real-time feedback, and an environment of discipline and competition. One-to-one sessions help students get tailored advice, strategy corrections, and focused improvement. Every aspirant has different strengths and weaknesses. Personal mentoring helps address them effectively. Ground discussions sharpen analytical thinking and help students develop a multi-dimensional perspective on issues crucial for prelims, mains, and interview. Elocution sessions help in personality development, clarity of thought, and confidence, essential for UPSC interviews. Test writing is the most crucial part of UPSC preparation. It helps in time management, structuring answers, and improving content quality. Offline mentoring is not just about teaching. It's about grooming future officers with the right guidance, discipline, and confidence. So if you are preparing for UPSC, make sure you have the right mentor by your side.
Are you still juggling newspapers, random notes, and endless PDFs trying to make sense of current affairs? Let's make your UPSC prep smarter. Introducing Digital Current Affairs Premium by Vision IAS, your all-in-one platform to read, revise, and write better every single day. Have a doubt from today's news or something in your syllabus? Just ask and get instant AI-powered answers that are concise, relevant, and completely aligned with the UPSC exam pattern. No more guesswork, no more confusion. Want to boost your mains writing skills? Practice daily with structured questions and get expert feedback to sharpen your content, clarity, and analysis, because writing well is winning half the battle. Need better revision? Use quick notes and highlights to save key points, mark important lines, and organize your current affairs in a way that actually works for you. And here's the best part, some of the most powerful tools are absolutely free. Daily news summaries from The Hindu, Indian Express, and more, curated, filtered, and exam ready. Downloadable PDFs so your notes stay organized and accessible. Daily quizzes and MCQs to reinforce what you've learned and track your progress. A smart student dashboard to monitor your performance and stay on top of your goals. Whether you're just starting or deep into your prep, Digital Current Affairs Premium adapts to your strategy and makes every minute count. So why prepare the hard way when you can prepare the smart way? Visit www.visionis.in/current-affairs and start transforming your current affairs prep today. Because with Vision IAS, you don't just stay updated, you stay ahead. UPSC CSE 2024 results are out and dreams have turned into ranks. Now you are asking, how do I get there? You've got the drive. What you need is the right guidance. Lakshya Integrated Mentoring Program 2026 by Vision IAS is your one-stop guidance program for prelims, mains, and interview. Smart, strategic revision for prelims and mains. Consistent mentorship with personalized feedback. Daily weekly schedule and practice targets. Custom test practice via Sandhan test series. interview and personality test training. All of it structured to guide you, strategic to keep you focused, and designed to meet your evolving needs. New batch starts from 19th May. It's your turn now. Start strong with Lakshya Mentoring Program.
Good evening, people. So today this session is all about that how we should prepare for sociology as far as 2026 is concerned. Today the session is not about 2025. Why am I saying this in the beginning? Because 2025 session I will be conducting next week, most probably on Thursday, where we will discuss the nitty-gritties of answer writing. So the target for the 2025 session, that is how to maximize your score in sociology by nailing answer writing strategy, would be conducted next week, most probably on Thursday. today's session largely is catering to the requirement that if we are aiming sociology for 2026, then how we are supposed to go about it. There might be some of you who are still in that mode of contemplation where that surety with respect to sociology is not there. It might also happen that you are sure that you have chosen sociology as the optional, but you are the beginner. That is yet not decided that fine, sociology is the optional I'm choosing, but how am I supposed to go about it? It may also happen that some of you have chosen sociology as the optional, have decided or have started studying also, but somewhere you are in midway, where now the clarity is missing that how we are supposed to further go about it. All these three categories of students we would be addressing in today's session. Today's session will be divided in two parts. The first 1.5 hours, I will be conducting the session, and from 6:30 onwards, there would be another faculty who would be conducting the session. Because largely my session would be catering to the requirement of sociology paper 2. And the next faculty is going to talk about sociology paper 1. Is that very clear? Okay. So the agenda for today's session basically is, or the session's objective to be very precise is, that why sociology as an optional for UPSC 2026. What is the demand of this paper? I am not just talking about the syllabus, I am talking about the exact demand of this paper and how this demand needs to be catered. Now, another important aspect, whichever stage you belong to, there are different cycles, different phases in your preparation of optional. The first phase is foundation. And once we do foundation, we think optional is prepared. But that is just the first stage. Once the foundation is done, then the second stage is enriching the content. Enriching the content so that it can cater to the demand of UPSC. The third stage is answer writing. And once you understand the nuances of answer writing, the final stage would be your test series, whichever test series, but with respect to optional, it is important to join some or the other test series. Because until and unless you don't attempt the test, you will not understand to what extent you have understood the concepts and whether you are able to reproduce the concepts and the understanding on the day of the examination on the paper or not. Sometimes things are clear here, but when you write it on the paper, something else is being conveyed. So it is very important that there has to be sync between what you have understood here and what you are writing on the paper. Is that clear for everyone? Okay. So now, just for very brief moment, I'll cater, because we have students online also who's watching. So very briefly, we will be talking about that why or what should be the criteria, and I hope these are the criteria you have also referred when you have decided to choose a particular optional. The first and the foremost and the most important criteria is your interest. Why am I saying this is? Because you will be engaging with a particular subject for at least 6 to 7 months. No matter what the crowd is saying, choose this optional, iska syllabus kam hai. Choose this optional, isme marks aa rahe hain. Choose this optional, isme thinkers kam hai. Nahi, that is not the criteria to choose the optional. If you have interest in that paper, I'll give you one example of a student from the classroom only. There was this one student who cleared this exam in the very first attempt. And when he came to meet us, the first question I asked, so what's your academic background? Because when you get selected, then you get to interact with the students on a very personal level. So then the student told me that he is an engineer. I was like, wow. So I was like, what was your optional? Some engineering subject, or otherwise engineers choose geography, PSIR, socio. He said English literature. I was like, what? I mean, the connect is not there. So then he told me he was always interested in literature, but since he could not pursue literature during his school time because there was a constant pressure to take science, to become engineer, to get settled. So finally he thought of choosing literature in the UPSC, and very first attempt, and he cleared. So it is not about what others are saying. It is about where your heart lies. If you are interested in the paper, please choose. There are a lot of mails I have been getting, a lot of messages I have been getting on my YouTube channel in past 1 week. Ma'am, pabad le ya socio le. PSIR ले या सोशो ले, anthro ले या ये ले. So there are confusion. That means sometimes what happens, you're able to identify that you have interest. Maybe you're liking PubAd also, you're liking PSIR also, you're liking sociology also. Let us say you're liking these subjects. Now the second important part where we can actually boil down is whether you have the availability of resource and material in the market or not. Sometimes you have interest in a subject, but resource and material is not available. It becomes very challenging to prepare for UPSC because there is a particular set how you have to prepare any subject as far as UPSC is concerned. Many a times the overlap is missing even with your academics also, because the demand here is very different. So the availability of resource and material, the second important criteria. Let us say now you boil down to 2 optional where resource and material was also available. So the third criteria will be, is there availability of decent coaching institute? Now you would be thinking, ma'am, we can prepare on our own. Very well said, you can. But some amount of guidance is required. There is one thing which I genuinely feel and I want to discuss it with you. Many a times it happens that students join coaching for GS, which is very general, which anyway you all have studied in your school life. NCRTs, that's the basic thing that we have studied, and more or less उसी के around questions आते भी हैं. Largely ये हो जाएगा कि current is being added. But when it comes down to optional, the syllabus is somewhat related to graduation and post-graduation. Where do we get that confidence that optional we can prepare on our own, but for GS we require coaching? Sometimes this baffles me. Why is it happening? So one, it may be the case that while preparing GS, we understand that how the subjects have to be prepared. That can be a possibility. Second, now toppers notes, coaching notes, everything is available in the market. So that can also ease our process. Third, the classes are also available on Telegram. So now that problem is also being solved. So let us say that you're not interested in any coaching, whichever optional you have decided. Even that would work for us, but it's a sincere request. Join some mentorship or test series at least. At least that will guide you that whatever you are preparing, whether it is aligned with the demand of UPSC or not. Sometimes I feel, if I talk about sociology categorically, it's not a difficult discipline. It's very relatable, very understandable, and you can do it on your own also. The only difference between a coaching and a non-coaching is the time that you consume. Sometimes if someone is there to guide you, things can be channelized at a faster pace. I think that is the only difference. And if you have, let us say you don't join a coaching, but you have access to mentorship or test series, even that would suffice, provided you are able to understand the concepts, and for which a lot of content is available in the market, whichever optional you're talking about. Whether it is PSIR, whether it is PubAd, whether it is geography, whether it is sociology, whether it is anthropology, these are the options which often people talk about. Everything is available in the market. But before you finally decide which optional to choose, just go through PYQs once. Because that will, you don't have to solve the PYQ. You don't know the subject, you will not be able to. But when you read the PYQs, do you find them doable? For example, you've not studied, let us say, anything about sociology. But if somebody asks you, what's the role of caste in politics? Or what are the diversities with respect to the family type which is existing? Or let us say, is joint family getting disintegrated? Or what are the issues confronting tribals? Do you think these are some questions which you can attempt? Are you understanding? So if you find the questions to be doable, that means you can approach that paper. And if all these 4 criteria, and that is why I have given them in an order, start with the interest in the subject, availability of the material, access to any decent mentorship or coaching, and finally if you find PYQs to be doable. If all these 4 criteria gets fulfilled, you are good to go and choose that optional. Is that clear? Okay. Now, since this session specifically is with respect to sociology as an optional, the first thing which I want to, because this is one question which I have been asked many times, I do not have a background in sociology, so do I. I never had any background in sociology, but I did choose, okay, I'm master's in mathematics. So I chose sociology as an optional because I found it very interesting. I found it very relatable. And that's my observation and experience of teaching. I've been conducting test series of sociology in Vision since 2013. So it is more than 10 years now. And I have noticed, irrespective of the academic background, whether it is engineers, doctors, management, CA, or graduates, all of them in their own capacity have done good with sociology. So if you do not have an academic background in sociology, in fact, it is better because you are like a clean slate. It is easy to mold you according to the demand of UPSC. Sometimes the people who have the academic background in the discipline, we find it difficult to mold them because they are carrying certain baggage. तो उनको वो 20 नंबर का या 10 नंबर का आंसर लिखवाना बहुत challenging हो जाता है as compared to the student who have no background in sociology. So even if you don't have any background, you are good to go. The next important aspect is this is pretty scoring paper. But before we discuss the scoring part, let me give you some reality checks. Just give me a minute. This year, 729 was the cutoff for mains, and 947 was the final cutoff. So to be very honest, if you are hovering around 729 or 30, even if you have cleared mains, we are not getting the name in the list because the difference is huge. That means approximately we need to get an interview, which is very rare. Okay? And if you notice top 10 students, if you have gone through their marks, in mains the minimum that they have scored is 821. I'm talking about top 10 students. So the minimum that a student in top 10 rank has secured in the mains only, I'm not including the interview mark, it is 821. So can I say that in general, our minimum threshold in mains should be somewhere around 800? Because then we would not completely be dependent, because if this is our threshold, the selection is happening at 947. So we are not leaving much for the interview. 147 is something we can achieve. And if anything above that, 175, 180, 200, 210, then you are in top 10. So the point here is that let's keep the minimum threshold for our mains to be 800. Now there are three parts to it. You have your GS paper, you have your essay paper, and then you have your optional. If I keep my minimum threshold 400, if I keep my minimum threshold 125, I need to achieve 275. If I change my minimum threshold to 425, this remains the same. That means as far as clearing mains is required, you cannot bank upon a single paper. You have to ensure that average you are performing decently when in all the paper, but 1 or 2 papers are required in which you excel. For example, it is easy to excel in optional. It is easy to excel in ethics. It is easy to excel in essay, provided we have practiced enough essay writing. So what I am trying to say is that for us, the minimum threshold for any optional has to be 250. So is 250 achievable in sociology? Very easily. What may be challenging is 275 plus. और ऐसा नहीं है कि आते नहीं, बहुत आराम से आते हैं, but I am giving you the minimum threshold कि इसके नीचे हम नहीं जा सकते. So with minimum efforts, you can easily achieve 250 in sociology. But if you put your efforts in the right direction, with the right strategy, making all the notes as we have suggested, solving all the PYQs, then this is easily achievable. But whether we reach 300 or not, for that, this is required. Because this year, highest has been 291. And this is not specifically for sociology, even for PSIR and other optionals also, people have not crossed 300. So, utna hame chahiye hi nahi. Anything above 250, and our target should be above 275. 250 is not your target, it is your minimum threshold. इससे नीचे नहीं आने चाहिए. So till what time you will be writing your test and practicing your answer writing, till the time you don't achieve your target. Is it making sense for everyone? So are you getting a clarity? ये clarity होना बहुत जरूरी है कि marks नहीं तो क्या हो रहा है, हम अंधेरे में तीर चला रहे हैं. We exactly don't know that how much marks we need to score. So if you know that 800 is the minimum threshold of your mains that is required to find your name in the list, this is how you will be preparing. Nothing less than 125 in essay, nothing less than these number in your GS paper. Otherwise क्या होगा, rank अगर आ भी जाएगी तो पीछे आएगी, you will be giving the exam again. So let's not fall in that ambit. Is this clear for everyone? So the scoring is not very challenging if I talk about sociology. In fact, the success rate of sociology is also good, 9 to 10%. If 100 people are writing the exam with sociology as an optional, 10 of them qualify, which is a stupendous success rate. So 9 to 10% is a good enough success rate. And the most important aspect about sociology is there exists an overlap with other papers. So it will help you saving your time also. Why? If you remember, if you have happened to attend my open sessions on society, I have always said GS paper 1, you cannot achieve 100 or more than 100 until and unless your society answers are written well. Now, many a time students find it challenging how to prepare society and social justice. But if you have sociology as an optional, that will give you an edge over others while writing the answers to society questions. And if you look at the questions they are asking, whether the question is on suicide, whether the question is on marriage, whether it is on religion, it is on caste, it is on tribes, it is communalism, ethnicity, these are the topics which you study in sociology. So if you have sociology, you don't have to separately prepare for GS paper 1. You are good to go. There is considerable overlap, 125 marks, society and social justice. Not only that, when you get question in your ethics paper on caste, on violence against women, on how to change the attitude, what are the issues with respect to midday meal, what are the nuances. So here, the knowledge of sociology will help you to write academically rich content. Now, how sociology helps, not just the overlap. Once you start studying sociology, you will realize you have developed sociological vocabulary. You will start talking in terms of stratification, mobility, alienation, exclusion, ostracization. And this is nothing but sociological vocabulary. This will help you to write academically rich content in your GS paper, whether it is GS paper 1 or GS paper 4. Is it making sense? Not only this, as far as sociology is concerned, every year there is a question in essay. This year, the question was social media is triggering fear of missing out amongst the youth, precipitating depression and loneliness. It is a topic from social issues. The second, last year, ये तो बिल्कुल direct topic था. Girls are weighed down by restriction, boys with demands, two equally harmful discipline. That's a topic in your syllabus, patriarchy. Gender, that's a topic. So when you study these topics, you know how to answer this essay. In fact, read the next topic. What is research? But a blind date with knowledge. So it was a statement given by Will Harvey. So he was basically a computer scientist, and in a very, how should I say, witty mode, he said, what is research? A blind date with knowledge. But if you know sociology, you know that R.K. Merton can be applied here. There is a concept of serendipity which fits here, where when you go to do your research, some new discovery happens for which you were not prepared. So it is like a blind date with knowledge. You never know whether it will be successful or it will be a failure. For example, Alexander Fleming, when he discovered penicillin, that was nothing but an accidental discovery. So how you can relate everything to write an answer, that edge is given to you if you have sociology as an optional. Read the next. History repeats itself, first as a tragedy and second as a farce. It's a statement by Karl Marx. So if you have an idea that what Karl Marx has talked about, how he has talked about the emergence of events in the historical form, then it becomes easier. I am not saying entire essay is about Karl Marx statement. No, we are not saying that. But there is some relatability which is there. In fact, what I have observed is, prior to the philosophical topics, there was a time when every year 2 topics were asked from society. For example, if you look at 2020, patriarchy is least noticed yet most significant structure of social inequality. Is it a direct topic? Similarly, read the next. There cannot be any social justice without economic prosperity, but economic prosperity without social justice is meaningless. And if you go back further, you will realize prior to philosophical topics, the weightage of society topics was even more. And since the combination have again started coming, so you will be getting at least 1 topic from society. So again, sociology is going to help you here. But see, no matter how well you performed in your mains, without performing well in your interview, your job is not done. And if you ask me, I'll always say there are particular topics which helps you in interview. One is your IR. There is very high probability of asking questions from IR. Second is your economics, which again helps you a lot in your interview. And third is your knowledge about society. Because ultimately, whatever you write, the questions would be hovering around. Let us suppose you live in a place which is habitated by tribals. The first question, what are the problems of tribals in your area? What are the existing government initiatives? What are the lacunas and how you intend to resolve them? Let us suppose you are a girl candidate and you are living in an area where sex ratio are very skewed. Or you are living in a region which is known for its patriarchal attitude or mindset. Again, there is a very high possibility that you would be asked questions on women empowerment. In fact, what I have noticed is among UPSC, they have started asking sociological analysis of all the topics. For example, terrorism. For example, war. They might ask you sociology of terrorism. They might ask you sociology or sociological analysis behind war. So are you understanding what is checkbook diplomacy? That's an IR topic. But what is the sociological perspective behind checkbook diplomacy? Can we apply the dependency theory of Andre Gundre Frank here? We'll study later. So the point which I'm trying to make here is that this knowledge of sociology will again give you an edge in your interview. Why? Because now you will be aware about all the nuances of society. First. Second, you will be having perspective on every topic. You will be aware about the problems. You will also be aware about the solution to those problems. It will give you an edge. And not only this, whatever you will be communicating to the interview board, there will be clarity. Because now your answers will be rich in terms of sociological vocabulary. So that is going to give you edge over other candidates. And you might notice students with sociology background, they do tend to score well when it comes down to essay and interview. The only reason is the response becomes very, academic, A. Second, it is contextually relevant. Third, their answers and responses have depth. They don't give superfluous answers because they have studied enough. And that adds to the richness of the answers which they are giving in the interview stage. Is it making sense for everyone? ठीक है? However, the agenda for today's lecture is basically Sociology Paper 2. So our focus would be on Sociology Paper 2. Now you need to understand that as far as Sociology Paper 2 is concerned, we need to focus it in the capacity of double-edged sword. That on one hand, Sociology Paper 2 gives you the opportunity to score. But at the same time, there is always a fear that you end up writing something which is too general. Now, I need to ask in this classroom, how many of you have studied sociology before? Fine. So we can take some responses from the class if you have studied some of the sociology before. Okay? So what I am meaning when I say double-edged sword, let me give you an idea. Have you heard about Uniform Civil Code? This is a GS topic. There is very high probability that they might ask you this question in sociology paper 2. Now let us suppose there was a question that what are the advantages and disadvantages of Uniform Civil Code? This is a very GS question. I'm just giving you a possibility. So can I say, just listen first, advantages of Uniform Civil Code, it will ensure, can we say this? There will be legal uniformity. It will ensure that secularism is implemented in true sense. There is no pseudo-secularism because everyone in their personal life is governed by a common set of laws. It may happen that it leads to the probability of women empowerment. It may also happen that it reduces the possibility of vote bank politics, which is often played on the basis of religious appeasement. I'm just giving you an idea. Are these GS points that you prepare? Okay. On the other hand, Uniform Civil Code could be challenging, reason being that it might be seen as a threat by the minority, that majority imposition of their culture. And it may also happen that there is so much of cultural diversity that it would be difficult to arrive at consensus. You've written the answer. Now let us suppose you write this answer in sociology and you wrote this argument. Are these arguments wrong? No. But then what is the difference between you as a sociology student and others who would be GS student? That means I have to make these arguments look sociological. So then I thought, let's do one thing. Let's introduce R.K. Merton and his concept of latent and manifest. These two becomes the manifest function. Those who know sociology, this becomes latent function, and rather than writing the negative, this becomes the dysfunction. Now your answer becomes sociological. So those who have ever studied sociology or those who are going to study sociology, they should know that in paper 2 you have to apply the concepts of paper 1. But does that mean that if we prepare paper 1, paper 2 automatically gets covered? No. There exists a reciprocal influence. If your paper 1 is good, that means you will be able to apply that in paper 2. The more you apply paper 1 in paper 2, your paper 1 is getting strong. Because the more you apply the concepts, the understanding of the concepts increases. Is that very clear? So paper 2 can be quoted in paper 1 can be quoted in paper 2. There has to be a reciprocal influence. Is it making sense? That shows the depthness and it shows that you have not rote learned. You have understood your concepts. Is it making sense for everyone? Can we proceed further? Okay. So as far as paper 2 is concerned, it is easy to score. But where we lack is, we end up writing too general answer. क्योंकि paper 2 में यही सवाल बनते हैं, Me Too movement, skewed sex ratio. They might ask you internal security challenges. They might ask you caste conflicts. They might ask you post on Manipur, ethnic conflicts. But then you cannot write a general answer. You have to write sociological answers. Is that very clear? So now the focus would be that how to prepare Sociology paper 2, with or without coaching, doesn't matter. If we follow this even on your own, you can prepare this subject. So as far as concern is there, again, like any GS paper, there are 4 things involved. First, deconstruction of the syllabus. Second, knowledge about PYQs. Third, making your own notes. And fourth, writing the answers. So basically, there are 4 pillars as far as Sociology paper 2 is concerned. So let me first show you the syllabus. Because if we know the syllabus, it is easy for us to deconstruct. Now, the name of the paper, Sociology paper 2, the name is Indian Society, Structure and Change. Let me tell you an easy way to decode the syllabus. Now, if the name of the paper is Indian Society, Structure and Change, the first thing is that I need to introduce my society. So the first part of the syllabus would be introducing Indian society. If I have to teach you something, if you have to study something, isn't that the first thing that you should be aware what exactly is my Indian society? And to exactly know, you should be aware about some perspectives. नहीं तो आप इंडियन सोसाइटी को देखोगे कैसे? किस लेंस से देखोगे? आपको यहाँ पे पता होना चाहिए कि हम इसे इंडोलॉजिकल लेंस से देखें, हम इसे स्ट्रक्चरल फंक्शनल लेंस से देखें, और आई नीड टू व्यू इट फ्रॉम द मार्क्सिस्ट लेंस. तो पहली बात तो यू शुड नो व्हाट एग्जैक्टली इज योर सोसाइटी. सो लेट अस इंट्रोड्यूस आवर सोसाइटी बेस्ड ऑन डिफरेंट perspectives. Once we are done with this, can you tell me which is that aspect which has influenced our society a lot? Which was that event in the past in our history? Colonialism. So that means whatever today our society is, it has a significant role of colonial rule. So I should know what is the impact of colonial rule on my society. Once I know this impact, what is the impact of the colonial rule, then the topic says structure. So you should prepare the structures, the existing structures. For example, you have rural structure, you have caste system, you have tribals, you have classes, you have kinship, within kinship you have family, marriage, and finally you have religion. But if there are structures, do we realize that the structures will not remain stagnant? Any society remains static? No, it always undergoes a change. That means this society is also undergoing a change. That means the third part that you have to study is change. You can start with the vision, or let us say the agents of change. And if there is a change, that means if I look at the structure, so there is rural transformation which is going to happen. Not only that, largely what we are witnessing in India is industrialization and urbanization. There has been change with respect to population, so that is nothing but population dynamics. There is emergence of movements which is bringing about the change. There is the politics of India is undergoing a change. But when there are changes happening, that means along with those changes there are some challenges. Changes are never going to be easy. Every change would be resisted. So there would be some challenge, or it may happen that some aspects are changing but some are continuing. So there is a lag which is being getting created. So there will be some challenges, and if there are challenges, you should always be prepared with. बस ये syllabus है पूरे paper 2 का. छोटा लग रहा है? छोटा सही है यार, हो गया खत्म। इंडियन सोसाइटी को देखने के लिए 3 थिंकर पकड़ लो, जिसमें एम एन श्रीनिवास, घूरे और ए आर देसाई आ जाएंगे। फिर इम्पैक्ट ऑफ कॉलोनियल रूल पढ़ लो, चाहे अब तुम उसमें प्रोटेस्ट पढ़ो, सोशल रिफॉर्म्स पढ़ो, या नेशनलिज्म पढ़ो, या मॉडर्नाइजेशन जो ब्रिटिश रूल लेकर आया था, तो उसमें योगेंद्र सिंह वगैरह को देख लेंगे। फिर ये एक एक करके स्ट्रक्चर पढ़ लो, एग्रीकल्चर में क्या था, कास्ट में क्या था, ट्राइबल क्या था, क्लासेस क्या था, किनशिप क्या था, रिलीजन क्या था। और फिर क्योंकि ये स्ट्रक्चर्स थे तो चेंज आया तो चैलेंजेस आए, और चैलेंजेस हैं तो वे फॉरवर्ड है। इज इट मेकिंग सेंस? ठीक है। सिलेबस है Introducing Indian Society, Perspective on the Study of Indian Society, Impact of Colonial Rule, different structures. Once you see the structures, then you have social change. Once you have the change, then you have the challenges of social transformation. The syllabus is done. If you approach the paper in a chronological manner, it starts making more sense. So when you decode a topic, it becomes easier. ठीक है, तो ओवरऑल आइडिया लगा सिलेबस का क्या है, ठीक है, बट इतना सिंपल नहीं, ऑप्शनल है ना 250 नंबर का, ठीक है, सो इतना सिंपल नहीं होता, थोड़ा सा डिकंस्ट्रक्ट करते हैं, ठीक है, वो भी सिखा देती हूँ, बहुत सिंपल है, आप खुद भी कर सकते हो। देयर इज अ टॉपिक इन योर सिलेबस, राइट डाउन कास्ट सिस्टम। देखो यहां पर caste system, perspectives on the study of caste, features of caste system and untouchability. This is the paper that we have. Now wait. My topic is caste system, and what UPSC has given me as a syllabus is the perspective of caste system, features and untouchability. This is what UPSC syllabus says. But will I prepare only in this capacity? No. So then how do I know that how this topic of caste system needs to be prepared? I had confusion in mind. The first thing I did was I glanced through 15 years of my PYQs. And when I did that, I actually was able to deconstruct the topic. And how I did that, after I went through my 15 years PYQ, I decided if this is the topic of caste, the first thing that I should study is caste versus caste system. Are they same or is there any difference? Second thing I realized that the focus has to be on the features of caste system, but within features, you have to categorically focus on Jajmani system. You should focus on endogamy. You should focus on, is there any difference between Varna and Jati? If yes, then how? And within that, we should discuss the concept of Gotra. Once I know this, now I know that the caste has to be studied from broad heading, that is approaches. On one hand, you have attributional approach. On the other hand, you have interactional approach. And within these approaches, I will study the perspective on caste system, which is in my syllabus. And within perspective, I will also study the theories on origin of caste. Then I'll come to the most important topic on which often the question is asked, that is transformation of caste system. Although it is not in the syllabus directly, but the questions are asked. So I have to prepare this. Within transformation, my focus would be on role of caste in politics. My focus would be on caste mobility. Focus would be on caste vis-a-vis class. Once I am done with this, my focus now would be on untouchability, because that's in my syllabus. And here I'll study the perspective on untouchability. I'll discuss the forms of untouchability, and we'll talk about the contemporary reality with respect to untouchability. Once we are done with this, now we have to talk about the contemporary issues जिससे सवाल बन सकता है. For example, the topic on reservation, topic on dominant caste, topic on caste census. There is a possibility you get a question. Topic on violence against Dalit. There can be a question on Dalit capitalism. You may also get caste among non-Hindus, because caste is no longer specific to one particular community. Caste outside India. Are there any similar systems which are existing? And finally, the movements to tackle caste system. इसे कहते हैं deconstruction. तो दिखता तो है कि सिर्फ कास्ट सिस्टम पढ़ रहे हैं जिसमें 3 हेडिंग्स हैं, पर्सपेक्टिव, फीचर्स एंड अनटचेबिलिटी. बट अगर आप 15 साल के पीवाईक्यूज उठा के देखोगे, अब कुछ नहीं बचेगा. दैट्स फॉर श्योर. अब सॉल्व हो जाएगा. तो बेसिकली पीवाईक्यूज, हम तो बहुत लकी हैं यार कि हमारे से पहले इतने सारे रेफरेंस ग्रुप्स हैं कि हमें पता है कि किस तरह के सवाल पूछे जा रहे हैं. और अब लग रहा होगा कि ये बहुत कुछ नहीं, 6-7 दिन लगते हैं और ये पूरा टॉपिक हो जाता है, और हर साल इस टॉपिक से 3 से 4 सवाल आते हैं. इतना तो मान के चल रहे हो ना कि अपने आप को 50 से 60 दिन दोगे सोशियोलॉजी पेपर 2 के लिए. इतना तो देंगे. एक ऑप्शनल पढ़ना है 250 नंबर का, ठीक है, 250. आई एम जस्ट टॉकिंग अबाउट पेपर 2. तो आई एम अज्यूमिंग हम 60 दिन तो अपने आप को देंगे ना इसके लिए. तो बस उस 60 दिनों में से 7-8 दिन ये लेगा. लेकिन कास्ट आपका इतना अच्छा तैयार हो जाएगा कि फिर कहीं पर भी आ जाए, यू विल बी एबल टू आंसर. इससे कहते हैं डीकंस्ट्रक्शन ऑफ सिलेबस. सो व्हेन यू लुक एट ए, यू शुड नो द सिलेबस. सेकंड, बेस्ड ऑन पीवाईक्यूज, प्लीज डीकंस्ट्रक्ट द सिलेबस. इज इट मेकिंग सेंस फॉर एवरीवन? आर यू अंडरस्टैंडिंग व्हाट इज डीकंस्ट्रक्शन? ठीक है. कैन वी प्रोसीड? Once we are done with the deconstruction part, another important aspect of PYQs, Acha, you need to tell me, have you ever seen any paper of sociology in UPSC? कोई पेपर कभी देखा है पहले UPSC का? ठीक है. Why am I saying this is? क्योंकि बहुत बार we miss out on this. For me, PYQs are very important. मोर देन एनीथिंग पीवाईक्यू एंड सिलेबस हमेशा आज भी मेरी टेबल पे रहता है. मैं किसी भी क्लास के लिए जाऊं, पहले पीवाईक्यू और सिलेबस, क्योंकि दैट कॉन्स्टेंटली रिमाइंड्स यू दैट वेदर योर प्रिपरेशन इज इन द राइट डायरेक्शन और नॉट. एक चीज पीवाईक्यू जो हमें हेल्प करता है, दैट इज टू नो द पैटर्न ऑफ द पेपर. डू वी नो दैट देयर आर 2 सेक्शंस? ये मैं इसलिए आज बता रही हूं क्योंकि बहुत बार स्टूडेंट्स गलती कर जाते हैं. There are 2 sections, that is section A and section B. Total you have to attempt 5 questions. 5 questions, and each question is of 50 marks. So total 250. This is my question number 1, which will have 5 parts. A, B, C, D, E. This is my question number 5. It will also have 5 parts. A, B, C, D, E. Question number 1 and 5 compulsory. This is given to us. Then we have question number 2, 3 and 4 in this section, and we have question number 6, question number 7, question number 8 in this section. And these will have 3 parts, 20 marks, 20 marks and 10 marks. हो गया? हर क्वेश्चन 50 नंबर का हो गया. यू हैव टू अटेम्प्ट 5 क्वेश्चन, जिसमें कंपलसरी कौन से हैं? क्वेश्चन नंबर 1 एंड क्वेश्चन नंबर 5. यू आर लेफ्ट विथ 3 क्वेश्चंस. लेट अस सपोज आई चोज क्वेश्चन नंबर 2 एंड क्वेश्चन नंबर 3. आई कैन नॉट चूज क्वेश्चन नंबर 4. At least 1 question from each section. So let us say you attempted question number 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. One entire 50 marks will not be evaluated. So if you are attempting 2 and 3, you should attempt at least one question from this section. Is it making? Don't commit this mistake. This mistake has costed people their attempt. Let's not do this. पूरा 50 नंबर चेक ही नहीं होगा. They will not give you marks. Is that clear? ये समझ आया? ठीक है. Total अगर आप calculate करो तो you are attempting 19 questions. And in 19 questions, 13 questions are your 10 marker, which makes it 130. 6 questions are 20 marker, which makes it 120. Total paper is 250. One piece of advice, always attempt 20 markers first. क्योंकि ये एक तो साइकोलॉजिकली बहुत रिलीविंग होता है कि 120 मार्क्स का हो गया, भले ही करे सिर्फ 6 क्वेश्चन थे लेकिन 120 मार्क्स का, और दूसरा ये वो क्वेश्चन है जो आपने खुद चुने हैं. 20 markers are the ones that you have chosen yourself. It is easy to write answers which the question you have chosen. क्योंकि वो जो first of 5 है वो तो anyway आपको लिखना है, चाहे आपको आता हो या नहीं आता हो. और फिर अगर चॉइस हो कि क्वेश्चन नंबर 1 पहले या 5 पहले, 1 पहले, क्योंकि जो पहले 2-3 आंसर्स हैं वो दिखने में अच्छे लगने चाहिए. तो A, B, C उसको तसल्ली से लिखना जरूरी होता है, क्योंकि फर्स्ट इंप्रेशन मैटर्स अ लॉट. ये बहुत छोटी छोटी चीजें, बट दीज नुआंसेस मैटर. और ये कैसे पता चलेगा? द मोर यू विल अटेम्प्ट मॉक्स, यू विल गेट द हैंग ऑफ इट. यू विल कम अप विथ योर ओन स्ट्रैटेजी, बट दिस इज हाउ द स्ट्रैटेजीज हैव टू बी मेड. इज इट मेकिंग सेंस? एक क्लैरिटी दिख रही है कि PYQ, ठीक है. दूसरी चीज PYQ हमें क्या बताता है? एक तो बता दिया उसने डिकंस्ट्रक्शन कैसे करें, एक उसने मुझे लार्जली बता दिया पैटर्न क्या है. तीसरा चीज जो वो मुझे बताता है, दैट इज नेचर ऑफ क्वेश्चंस. क्वेश्चंस कॉन्सेप्चुअल आते हैं, क्वेश्चंस एप्लीकेशन बेस्ड आते हैं, क्वेश्चंस स्टैटिक आते हैं, क्वेश्चंस आर बेस्ड ऑन contemporary issues. So if you go through your PYQs, you know this, that what is the nature of the question which UPSC is asking. Not only this, you will also know if there are any repeated themes. For example, I just now showed you the syllabus part. Let me just tell you. आप खुद ही सारी तैयारी कर सकते हो अगर आप ध्यान से देखो तो. अब बस ये खुल जाए. इफ यू लुक एट द सिलेबस, देयर इज अ टॉपिक क्लासेस. मैंने मेंशन किया था, उसमें 3 क्लासेस हैं, एग्रीकल्चरल क्लास, इंडस्ट्रियल क्लास एंड मिडिल क्लास. आप नोटिस करना, एवरी अदर ईयर, यहां दिख रहा है मिडिल क्लास, एवरी अदर ईयर देयर इज अ क्वेश्चन फ्रॉम मिडिल क्लास. बट इफ यू लुक एट इंडस्ट्रियल क्लास, फॉर कंसिडरेबली 20 years देयर वाज नो क्वेश्चन. और इस बार हमने उसे टेस्ट सीरीज में डाला था, ये सोच के कि कभी पूछा नहीं है, डाल देते, एक क्वेश्चन कम पड़ रहा था, इसी साल आ गया, बच गए हम तो. सो द पॉइंट हियर इज व्हिच आई एम ट्राइंग टू टेल, कि अगर कोई टॉपिक नहीं पूछा जा रहा है, इसका मतलब ये नहीं छोड़ दो, लेकिन अगर ये पता है कि कोई टॉपिक है बार बार पूछा जा रहा है, दैट मीन्स यू हैव टू प्रिपेयर इट वेरी वेल. Extra emphasis has to be laid on middle class, because you know every other year they are asking you question on middle class. Similarly, tribes का दे रखा है क्या यहाँ पे? हाँ, tribes. Definitional problem, geographical spread, colonial policy, issue of integration and autonomy. With respect to geographical spread, no question so far. Question कभी आया ही नहीं है. तो हम क्या करेंगे, एक बार 2 पन्ने का कंटेंट बना के छोड़ देंगे कि अगर बाय चांस आया तो वी आर एबल टू राइट. बट मुझे पता है कि इंटीग्रेशन एंड ऑटोनॉमी से हर साल सवाल आ रहा है. सो दिस इज वन टॉपिक वेयर एक्स्ट्रा एम्फसिस वुड बी लेड, एंड बेस्ड ऑन द क्वेश्चंस व्हिच दे हैव आस्क्ड इन द पास्ट, आई विल क्रिएट माय फ्लो चार्ट, जो मैंने अभी डिकंस्ट्रक्शन आपको करके दिखाया. नाउ आर यू अंडरस्टैंडिंग दैट हाउ इट नीड्स टू बी डन? सो यू नीड टू फोकस कि PYQs में रिपीटेड थीम कौन से. कास्ट उनका फेवरेट है, ट्राइब्स का इशू ऑफ इंटीग्रेशन ऑटोनॉमी इज देयर फेवरेट, मिडिल क्लास इज देयर फेवरेट टॉपिक, हाउस हर दूसरे साल हाउस होल्ड पे क्वेश्चन आता है, हाउस होल्ड इज देयर फेवरेट टॉपिक, इरावती कार्वे का किनशिप सिस्टम इज देयर फेवरेट टॉपिक, हर दूसरे साल आता है. और पेपर 1 में तो सिविल सोसाइटी उन्हें इतना पसंद है कि एक बार एक ही साल 2 क्वेश्चन थे सिविल सोसाइटी पे, मतलब पता नहीं क्यों, बट थे. So the point here is that there are some broad themes which is favorites of UPSC. There you have to lay extra emphasis. Is that very clear? So हर चीज पूरी शिद्दत से नहीं करनी. आइडेंटिफाई करो, वो एरियाज बहुत अच्छे से करो जो बार बार आ रहे हैं, और जो बार बार नहीं आते या कभी वंस इन ब्लू मून आते, उनको बस एक बार करके छोड़ दो. एटलीस्ट 2 पेजेस का एक राइटअप बना के छोड़ दो कि अगर बाय चांस आया, आई हैव समथिंग टू राइट. Is that very clear for everyone? So this kind of strategies had to be created. So, wait. So if we are aware about these, this we have discussed. We have also discussed the nature of the questions which is being asked time and again. I just want to show you one deconstruction. If this opens, there is a topic kinship system. ये आपका syllabus है, बिल्कुल ऐसे ही, UPSC ने ऐसे ही दिया है, ठीक है. हमने क्या किया इस syllabus में? I wanted to show this with some proof, so that would be easy for us. So there is a topic which says kinship. Just make this, you will get a better idea when you study at home. So when we did this kinship, we divided it in 3 parts. One was kinship, other was lineage, third was descent, and fourth was regional variation. In kinship system. When we did this, what we did here, concept of kinship, types of kinship, approaches to kinship. Here we wrote concept of lineage. What is lineage, or what do you mean by lineage? What are the functions of lineage? What is descent? So what is concept? And what are the different systems of descent? And finally, here regional variation, with specific focus on the study by Iravati Karve. So, especially north-south kinship and their comparison. ये हमें कैसे पता चला? PYQ से. Now just hold. If this is done, these are few of the questions which are asked in last 10 years from kinship. Read the question. Types of kinship system in India. Was that there in the flowchart? Broadly compare kinship system of North and South India. Compare North Indian kinship with South Indian kinship again. Discuss different forms of kinship system. Define the concept of descent and alliance. That is there. Approaches जहाँ करते हैं. Differentiate between North India. जब आपको पता है वो हर साल आपसे पूछ रहे नॉर्थ इंडिया और साउथ इंडिया, एक अच्छा सा आंसर नहीं तैयार कर सकते हो टेबल बनाकर, जिसमें आप थोड़ा डायग्राम भी डाल दो, अच्छे से थिंकर्स भी डाल दो. सरप्राइज तो नहीं हो गया, आई एम श्योर. देख ही रहे हो हर साल पूछ रहे हैं. तो PYQs हेल्प्स अस स्ट्रीमलाइन आवर प्रिपरेशन. उतना मुश्किल है नहीं, बट हम PYQs ही एक ऐसी चीज़ है जो देखते ही नहीं है. सोचते हैं ना पहले सिलेबस कंप्लीट हो जाए फिर देखेंगे, और सिलेबस कंप्लीट होने के बाद पता चलता है जो पूछ रहे हैं वो पढ़ा नहीं. सो कभी कभी हो जाता है. एनीवे, सिमिलरली अब हर एक टॉपिक का तो डीकंस्ट्रक्शन नहीं दिखा रही. वैसे ही अगर ट्राइबल्स को डीकंस्ट्रक्ट करोगे तो सारे क्वेश्चंस, ये यार खुद सोचो ना कैसे सॉल्व नहीं होगा. हम तो रिवर्स इंजीनियरिंग कर रहे हैं ना. हम पहले PYQ देख रहे हैं, फिर डीकंस्ट्रक्ट कर रहे हैं, तो जाहिर सी बात है कि सारे क्वेश्चन सॉल्व होंगे. एंड लेट अस सपोज दे आस्क यू समथिंग न्यू, दैट विल बी न्यू फॉर everyone, so you don't have to be worried about it. So at least focus on the majority of the questions where the themes are repeated. Every year 2 to 3 questions are new, but those 2-3 questions are new for everyone. So if that is not a part of question 1 and question 5, we are again lucky, we can leave it in the option. And if it is a part of question number 1 and 5, then it is new for everyone. किसी को नहीं आता होगा. At least ये मान के चलो, psychologically बहुत relaxing होता है. अगर हमें नहीं आता तो किसी को नहीं आता. और ये चलेगा तब ना आगे बढ़ेगी क्लास. नेक्स्ट एक ये चीज दिखा देती हूँ, नोट्स बनते कैसे हैं. अगर PYQ की बात करें, एक टॉपिक है ना, हमने बात करी थी ना, इंडोलॉजी, स्ट्रक्चर, फंक्शनलिज्म, मार्क्सिज्म. इंडोलॉजी पे एक चीज नोटिस करी, हर साल एक बार क्वेश्चन देख लो. राइट अ शॉर्ट नोट ऑन इंडोलॉजिकल पर्सपेक्टिव ऑफ GS Ghore. GS Ghore's Indological approach, understanding society. Write a note on GS Ghore's Indological perspective. Critically examine GS Ghore. कुछ बदला नहीं, एक सा क्वेश्चन लग रहा है, ठीक है। फिर हमने क्या किया, एक ही आंसर तैयार किया, हमने नोट नहीं तैयार किया, हमने आंसर तैयार किया कि अब जीएस घूरे और इंडोलॉजी पे तुम सवाल पूछो, ये मेरा इंट्रोडक्शन है। GS Ghurye was a pioneer Indian sociologist who is known for developing modern Indology, which added professionalism in sociological study of Indian society. फिर features of Indology तैयार कर लिए एक ही बार तैयार करना है क्योंकि इसी पे क्वेश्चन बन रहा है। हो सकता है क्रिटिसिज्म पे बन जाए, तो MN श्रीनिवास ने क्या कहा, दीपांकर गुप्ता ने क्या कह रखा है, AR देसाई ने क्या कहा, फेमिनिस्ट ने क्या किया, हमने तैयार कर लिया और एक हमने कंक्लूजन रेडी कर लिया कि despite the above mentioned criticism, the Indological approach laid the foundation for the discipline, which otherwise was struggling in context of India. अब इंडोलॉजी पे कोई भी सवाल आए GS घूरे से रिलेटेड, आपका आंसर तैयार है कि नहीं? दिस इज हाउ द नोट्स हैव टू बी। अगर आप पैराग्राफ राइटिंग में नोट्स करोगे तो नोट्स में से आपको एग्जाम वाले दिन कंटेंट एक्सट्रैक्ट करना पड़ेगा। आप आंसर क्वेश्चन आंसर फॉर्मेट में नोट्स तैयार करोगे, आपको एक्सट्रैक्ट नहीं करना पड़ेगा। And always prepare for the broad questions. It can be narrowed down. But if you prepare for narrow questions, it cannot be broadened. तो अब वो पूछ ले, या तो वो पूछेंगे features of Indology by GS घूरे, या वो पूछेंगे criticism, या वो पूछेंगे दोनों, यही तो होगा। Is that very clear? But अब इसमें एक चीज हम और ऐड कर सकते थे अगर मन हो, contemporary relevance of GS घूरे's Indology। ये हम अज्यूम कर सकते हैं, हो सकता है अगली बार पूछ लें, टू व्हाट एक्सटेंट GS घूरे's इंडोलॉजिकल पर्सपेक्टिव होल्ड्स कॉन्टेम्पररी रेलेवेंस। तो दैट वन एस्पेक्ट नीड्स टू बी एडेड हियर एंड यू आर गुड टू गो इवन फॉर फ्यूचर क्वेश्चंस। इज इट मेकिंग सेंस हाउ द नोट्स हैव टू बी प्रिपेयर्ड? ठीक है। नाउ मेनी अ टाइम्स आई हैव बीन आस्क्ड दिस क्वेश्चन कि नोट्स कैसे बनाने हैं, ठीक है। मैंने थोड़ी देर पहले आपको कास्ट सिस्टम का एक सिनॉप्सिस वो बना के दिखाया था। मैं आपको थोड़ा सा क्लास नोट्स का आइडिया, प्रोवाइडेड इट इज देयर, हमने कास्ट सिस्टम की बात करी थी, मैंने यही दिया था, मैं इसीलिए आपको यही दिखा रही हूं। व्हाट इज कास्ट सिस्टम, डिफरेंस बिटवीन कास्ट एंड caste system, then what are the scholarly views on caste system, what are the features of caste. Can you see we are incorporating the diagrams at the same place so that when you revise you exactly know where the diagrams can be added. So there are different features of caste system, then within endogamy, anuloma and pratiloma, then there are different features of caste system that needs to be prepared. Then remember perspectives on caste system. So whether it is the perspective of Ghurye, and then we'll continue. Do you get the point? So this is how the note making has to be done. So it doesn't matter, you can prepare, now you know now how to deconstruct. सब कुछ आपको खुद पता है, PYQ सामने रखो, deconstruct करो, हर एक टॉपिक पे 150 से 200 वर्ड का आंसर तैयार कर लो, उसके बियॉन्ड नहीं आता। Is it making sense for everyone? But this is how the notes have to be prepared. जब आप खुद notes बनाने लगते हो, just look at, have you ever made notes किसी भी टॉपिक के, किसी भी सब्जेक्ट के? Just read. Do you agree with this? First, improves your focus and attention. अच्छा, notes का मतलब कॉपी करना नहीं होता। Notes मतलब हमने पढ़ के समझ लिया, then we are making our own notes. So when you make notes by recalling whatever you have prepared, don't you realize your concepts get more strengthened, the understanding develops, the focus is there, and most importantly, all those things which otherwise is irrelevant, automatically you will not write in your notes. And when you start making notes, do you realize it's a very tedious process to write everything? You start coming up with those short notes, you start making flowchart, you start making diagrams, you start making those vicious cycle, not because you want to make, it's because पूरा लिखना is very tedious. आपको स्लोली एंड ग्रेजुअली रियलाइज होगा कि क्रिएटिविटी इज गेटिंग एडेड। फॉर एग्जाम्पल मुझे थिंकर के पर्सपेक्टिव लिखने थे, अब यह बड़ा बोर लग रहा था एक एक थिंकर, तो मैंने ना एक ऐसे टेबल बनाई, बॉक्स, एक तरफ थिंकर और उनके पर्सपेक्टिव, और पर्सपेक्टिव भी एकदम टू द पॉइंट। फिर मुझे क्रिटिसिज्म करना था, तो मैंने क्रिटिसिज्म के लिए फिर एक बॉक्स बनाया, एक तरफ थिंकर्स और उन्होंने क्या क्या क्रिटिसिज्म दिया है। you will realize that your time is getting saved, you are making more diagrams and your understanding is getting cleared. क्योंकि जब आप खुद से notes लिखते हो ना, आप कोई वो चीज नहीं लिखोगे जो आपको समझ नहीं आ रही है, क्योंकि अगर आपको समझ नहीं आएगी आप कॉन्फिडेंस के साथ नोट्स में लिख नहीं पाओगे, प्रोवाइडेड आप कॉपी नहीं कर रहे हो. अगर कॉपी कर रहे हो तो बात अलग है, बट अगर कॉपी नहीं कर रहे हो ना, यू विल नॉट राइट एनीथिंग विच यू आर नॉट अंडरस्टैंडिंग ऑन योर ओन. इज इट मेकिंग सेंस फॉर एवरीवन? ठीक है, अब देख लेते हैं कैसे करना है इसको. There are many of you who have yet not started with sociology, and let us assume you have to prepare on your own. The first thing is, for paper 2 I'm talking about, the basic book is Indian Sociological Thought by B.K. Nagla. यहां से thinkers develop होते हैं, यहां से perspectives develop होते हैं. M.N. Srinivas, Yogendra Singh, G.S. Ghure, what they have talked about. So this is a basic reading. If you're studying on your own, then Indian Sociological Thought by B.K. Nagla could be the first book, provided you have read NCRTs. अगर NCRTs 11th 12th की एक बार रीड कर ली है, वो सिर्फ रीडिंग पर्पस के लिए है, तो फिर आप इस बुक से शुरू कर सकते हो. And once you've read this book, then IGNU specific content has to be prepared. And what I have done in this PPT only, topic wise which IGNU booklet has to be read for paper 2, I have clearly mentioned. Is that very clear? लेकिन पढ़ने से पहले आप वो फ्लो चार्ट बनाओगे डिकंस्ट्रक्ट करके, और फिर पढ़ोगे तो आपको एग्जैक्टली पता होगा. अब सपोज करो आप इग्नू में कुछ पढ़ रहे हो, उससे रिलेटेड कभी क्वेश्चन आया ही नहीं, तो छोड़ दो वो चीज. Only pick up those content from the IGNU based on which the question has ever been asked. Otherwise, IGNU is not meant for UPSC ना, वो तो हम उसको source बना रहे हैं. Otherwise, it is not catering to UPSC. तो you have to cut from or you have to filter the content from IGNU. Is it making sense? ठीक है. Let us suppose आपका basic understanding, आपने बुक पढ़नी शुरू कर दी. अब अगर मैं आपकी जगह होती और मुझे खुद से पढ़ना होता सोशियोलॉजी, तो मैं क्या करती, मैं कोई भी टॉपिक पढ़ती ना, तो मैं उसको माइक्रो टॉपिक्स में डिवाइड कर देती. जितना यू विल डिवाइड इन माइक्रो टॉपिक्स, योर अंडरस्टैंडिंग विल डेवलप. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, माई टॉपिक्स नेम वॉज इंडियन सोसाइटी, स्ट्रक्चर एंड चेंज. पहले तो मैं ऐसे ही डिवाइड करती. What is Indian society? What do you mean by structures? What is the difference between structure and culture? What do you mean by change? Is change similar to development? If not, then what is the difference? Can you see what I'm doing here? आपको लगेगा time consuming है, time consuming नहीं है. Simultaneously your concepts are getting cleared. You exactly will know what to write and what not to write. So whenever you are studying a big topic, divide it into small. जैसे कास्ट पढ़ रहे हो, तो कास्ट और कास्ट सिस्टम में क्या फर्क है, कास्ट और क्लास में क्या फर्क है, कास्ट और ट्राइब में क्या फर्क है, कास्ट में वर्ण क्या होता है, जाति क्या होती है, अच्छा जाति और गोत्र में क्या फर्क है. Did you understand what we are doing? ये छोटी छोटी चीजें पढ़ते चलोगे ना, कंफ्यूजन कभी नहीं आएगा, and you will actually find sociology to be very interesting. और शुरू में हो सकता है आपको लगे बहुत टाइम लग रहा है, आपको रोज के 4 से 5 घंटे देने सोशियोलॉजी को, एंड मार्क माई वर्ड्स, विद इन 2-3 मंथ्स यू आर गुड टू गो. आपको इतना कॉन्फिडेंस आ जाएगा कि विद इन 6 मंथ्स द एंटायर डिसिप्लिन कैन बी प्रिपेयर्ड. एंड वंस यू स्टार्ट आंसर राइटिंग, यू विल गेट द कॉन्फिडेंस दैट 250 इज नो बिगर डील. बट उसके लिए कॉन्सेप्ट्स पे पकड़ होनी चाहिए. अगर मैं आपकी जगह होंगी ना, तो मैं ज्यादा पढ़ने की बजाय जितना पढ़ रही हूं उसको मैं कॉन्सेप्ट्स के साथ पढ़ूंगी. मैं रटने में विश्वास नहीं रखती, क्योंकि वो रटा हुआ कभी काम नहीं आता है. याद करो, पर समझ के याद करो. इज इट मेकिंग सेंस फॉर एवरीवन? ठीक. दूसरा, जब भी आप पेपर 2 में आंसर लिख रहे हो, तो बहुत बार ऐसा होगा व्हेन यू विल रीड, बिकॉज मेनी ऑफ यू हैव नॉट स्टडीड सोशियोलॉजी, तो उतना आइडिया नहीं है कि बहुत बार पेपर 2 में ऐसा होता है कि थिंकर्स होते ही नहीं है, एंड नाउ वी हैव टू सर्च फॉर द थिंकर्स. तो easiest way out is whatever you have prepared in paper 1, you can comfortably apply in paper 2. And there are 2-3 ways of application, which I'll discuss with you in some time. You can also take reference from newspaper. Newspaper में ये article आया, Why are Marathas mobilizing? अब क्वेश्चन यूपीएससी ने मराठास पे नहीं पूछा, बट पूछ लिया why dominant caste is demanding reservation under OBC. Will the points remains the same? Yes. फिर मैंने 1 सेकेंड के लिए देखा ये लिखा किसने है. So it is written by a professor of sociology. So can I quote the name of the person now? And bracket में professor of sociology. So have you given credibility to your argument? So next time when you read any social issue in the newspaper, hardly it will take few seconds to identify who has written. Even if it is a political scientist, even if it is an economist, you can quote their name. क्योंकि अब तो interdisciplinary है. क्या हम सुहास पालशिकर नहीं लिखते या हम राजीव भार्गव को नहीं पढ़ते, ठीक है? So we study about these people and they are political scientists. But Rajni Kothari, the most important work on role of caste in politics, that person is a political scientist. But हम लिखते हैं ना, Amartya Sen. So the point here is that you can quote any thinker, any scholar, any professor from any discipline. So whenever you read this, just focus on that. But there are some good articles. For example, Ashutosh Varshne. For example, Satish Deshpande. For example, Dipankar Gupta. For example, Christopher Jeffrelot. If you come across their articles, please make a noting of it. They have done stupendous work as far as sociology is concerned, and especially in context of Indian sociology. तो अगर इनका आर्टिकल कभी न्यूज़पेपर में आए, that you come across such articles, not in the newspaper, in general also, and it is related to the topic in the syllabus, then please make a noting of it. And this value, मैंने कहा था ना, foundation के बाद एक stage होती है enrichment. So this is basically the stage of enrichment. Once we are done with this, it's not always the thinkers which adds credibility to your argument. You can also use real life case studies. You can also use data, report, but those data and report statistics needs to be authentic. For example, अगर मैं society की बात करूं तो social aspect से related data चाहिए होगा. उसके लिए सबसे अच्छी report इस वक्त हमारे पास क्या है? NFHS. जब तक सेंसस नहीं आता तब तक तो हम नेशनल फैमिली हेल्थ सर्वे रिपोर्ट को कोट कर सकते हैं हर जगह. एजुकेशन की बात करें तो असर रिपोर्ट को कोट कर सकते हैं. हायर एजुकेशन की बात करें तो ऑल इंडिया सर्वे फॉर हायर एजुकेशन को कोट कर सकते हैं. क्या आप ये जीएस के लिए पढ़ रहे हो? आप ऑटोमेटिकली यहां यूज कर लेना. So there is reciprocal influence. What you are using there, it can be used here as well. क्या जर्नल्स पढ़ने की जरूरत है? देखो, अगर शौक हो और टाइम हो तो पढ़ लेना, नहीं तो हम बाकी आजकल टेलीग्राम ग्रुप्स वगैरह पे सब मिलता है. मैं खुद ही अपने टेलीग्राम चैनल पे रोज एक करंट अफेयर अपडेट कर देती हूँ. तो देयर इज अ टेलीग्राम चैनल सोशियोलॉजी बाय स्मृति शाह. तो उसमें मैं रोज एक करंट डेवलपमेंट जो भी इशू है फ्रॉम सोशियोलॉजिकल पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू, अभी मैंने विमेन इन आर्म्ड फोर्सेस शायद डाला है, सो यू कैन फॉलो दैट. नहीं तो अगर खुद से भी कर सकते हो तो यू कैन डू दैट. ये हो क्यों नहीं रहा? Now, let me tell you, just don't look at the last वो, इस थिंकर को मत देखना, मैं सिर्फ आपको सिखा रही हूँ, ठीक है? आपने अर्बनाइजेशन सुना है? डोंट लुक हियर. इज एवरीबडी अवेयर इररिस्पेक्टिव ऑफ सोशियोलॉजी? अर्बनाइजेशन तो सुना है ना, ठीक है? इफ आई गिव यू 2 minutes टू थिंक व्हाट आर द सोशल प्रॉब्लम्स रिलेटेड टू अर्बनाइजेशन, कैन यू टेल मी सम सोशल प्रॉब्लम्स रिलेटेड टू अर्बनाइजेशन? What? Industrialization, will that be a problem? Slum is one of the problems. Somebody said ghettoization, that is a problem. We'll add the same. Anything else? Overcrowding, so lack of resources, ठीक है? So lack of access to basic infrastructure, let us say education, health, or let us say education is being provided only to those who can afford, otherwise it is not being provided. So can we say inequality is getting aggravated? ठीक है? और कुछ? हाँ, ठीक है. Environmental challenges, ठीक है? Anything else? Migration, isolation, anxiety, connectivity with the other people. अच्छा, isolation हो रहा है, value system change हो रहा है urban areas में. We are becoming more individualistic, self-centered, blah blah blah. ठीक है, ठीक है. हम ये कह सकते हैं disintegration of joint family. ये सब, ये इतना तो है, ठीक. अब देखो, वैल्यू सिस्टम बदल रहा है, डिसइंटीग्रेशन ऑफ जॉइंट फैमिली हो रहा है, स्लम का प्रोलिफरेशन है, लाइफस्टाइल डिजीजेस, भाई मैकडोनलाइजेशन ऑफ फूड हैबिट्स वगैरह हो रहा है. अब क्योंकि हमने कंक्रीट, जंगल ऑफ कंक्रीट बना लिए हैं, तो क्लाइमेट चेंज का भी इंपैक्ट है. हमारे पास वो वॉक करने के लिए वो ग्रीन पाथ वगैरह इज नॉट अवेलेबल, ठीक है? कल्चर का एक तरह से होमोजेनाइजेशन हो रहा है. वी आर लूजिंग आउट ऑन आवर ट्रेडिशनल कल्चर. देयर इज जेंडर्ड प्रॉब्लम, problems related to women, or let us say there is feeling of relative deprivation. Somebody was saying मतलब overcrowding वगैरह हो रहा है, तो some people are getting access to resources, some are not. So relative deprivation is there, and due to feeling of relative deprivation, people do tend to indulge in crime. ये GS का आंसर तैयार हो गया, ये आप सोसाइटी में बिल्कुल ऐसे ही लिख सकते हो. अब 2 मिनट के लिए इस कॉलम पर आ जाओ, हर एक पॉइंट के लिए एक थिंकर डाल दो. ये सोशियोलॉजी का आंसर है, और ये थिंकर्स हम कहां पढ़ेंगे? पेपर 1 में. तो ऐसा हो ही नहीं सकता कि आपके पास पॉइंट्स ना हो. मेरा कहने का मतलब है, अगर इस डायग्राम से समझ पा रहे हो, इस टेबल से, कभी यहां से शुरुआत नहीं करते आंसर की. आंसर की शुरुआत तो नॉर्मल आर्ग्यूमेंट से ही होती है, फिर उसमें देखते हैं कि कहां कहां थिंकर डाला जा सकता है. इज दैट वेरी क्लियर? ऑन द स्पॉट 2 थिंकर याद आए, 4 आए, 5 आए, उससे फर्क नहीं पड़ता. लेकिन अगर पहले थिंकर पे फोकस करोगे तो वो ऐसा लगेगा कि कलेक्शन ऑफ थिंकर्स किया हुआ है. क्वेश्चन को आंसर करना है, एंड इन दैट आंसर यू हैव टू गिव क्रेडिबिलिटी टू योर आर्ग्यूमेंट, एंड फॉर दैट क्रेडिबिलिटी यू रिक्वायर थिंकर्स. पहले आर्ग्यूमेंट तो दो, क्रेडिबिलिटी तो बाद में आएगी. अब आंसर बनाना सोशियोलॉजी के क्वेश्चन के लिए भी आसान हो जाएगा. पहले सिर्फ नॉर्मल सोचो आर्ग्यूमेंट के फॉर्म में, व्हाट इज रोल ऑफ कास्ट इन पॉलिटिक्स, नॉर्मली सोचो, फिर देखेंगे कि कहां कहां थिंकर डाला जा सकता है. वायलेंस अगेंस्ट विमेन, व्हाई इट इज ऑन राइज, नॉर्मली सोचो व्हाई इट इज ऑन राइज, फिर देखना कि कहां कहां थिंकर डाला जा सकता है. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, यू कैन से दैट वायलेंस अगेंस्ट विमेन इज ऑन द राइज. वन ऑफ द रीजन इज इकोनॉमिक डिपेंडेंस ऑफ women, or let us say there is lack of policies to ensure safety and security of women, or let us say the participation of women in the labor market which has resulted into resentment against them. कुछ भी points हो सकते हैं जनरल. अब देखो यहां पे कौन कौन डाला जा सकता है. Sometimes violence is happening because we have a stereotype where we believe women is weak, passive and dependent. We try to exercise our power on women. तो ये points तो ऐसे हैं ना जो हम सबको पता है. अब सोचो किसमें सिल्विया वॉल्बी को डालें, किसमें एन ओकले डाल दें, किसमें नाइला कबीर डाल दें, किसमें बीना अग्रवाल डाल दें. हो गया सोशियोलॉजिकल आंसर तैयार. इज इट मेकिंग सेंस फॉर एवरीवन? दिस इज हाउ इट हैज टू बी डन. अपने आप सोशियोलॉजी अच्छा लगने लगेगा. इट इज अ वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग पेपर. बट डू यू अंडरस्टैंड हाउ इट इज सपोज टू बी डन? ये क्या है? नोट्स है. प्रॉब्लम ऑफ अर्बनाइजेशन. अर्बनाइजेशन आपके सिलेबस का पार्ट है. Once we are done, try to incorporate diagrams. जितने डायग्राम्स तैयार कर लो उतना अच्छा है. और ये डायग्राम्स कैसे तैयार होते हैं? एथनो नेशनलिज्म लिखने का मन नहीं था. What is ethnic group? People, when they have the awareness that they are belonging to ethnic group, there is a development of ethnic identity. If there is ethnic identity, there is differential access to resources, which led to stratification, antagonism. When there was realization, it led to ethno nationalism. पूरा लिखने का मन नहीं था, इसलिए डायग्राम बन गया. ये साइकिल बाय डिफॉल्ट आई है क्योंकि पूरा लिखने का मन नहीं था. सिमिलरली, व्हाई डोमिनेंट कास्ट इज डिमांडिंग रिजर्वेशन. जहां डायग्राम बन सके वहां बना दो. मोनोटनी ब्रेक हो जाती है, और ये आपको किताबों में नहीं मिलेगा, क्योंकि मुझे तो रीजन पता है ना ये डायग्राम कैसे बना. जब मैं नोट्स रिवाइज कर रही थी कि अगले दिन क्लास में जाके क्या पढ़ाना है, तो पढ़ाते पढ़ाते ये बनाया क्योंकि पूरा लिखने का मन नहीं था. तो आई नो द रियलिटी कि ये डायग्राम कैसे बना, इसीलिए मैं आपको वो रियलिटी बता रही हूं. आप भी अप्लाई करना. जब पूरा पूरा लिखने का मन नहीं होगा ना, तो अपने आप फ्लो चार्ट, विषय, जैसे ये देखो, विमेन इन इनफॉर्मल सेक्टर, देयर इज पेट्रियार्की. पेट्रियार्की की वजह से डेप्रीवेशन, डेप्रीवेशन की वजह से लिमिटेड एक्सेस टू एजुकेशन, स्किल एंड formal job. So women is confined to informal sector. If you are in informal sector, no minimum wage, no minimum working condition, easy entry, this. Because of all these factors, you are deprived. If you are deprived, you are reinforcing patriarchy. What you are making is a vicious cycle. Are you understanding? The more you practice these diagrams, it becomes easier. अब ये तो basic diagrams है. Hub and spoke model कहीं मन करे डाल दो. जिसके भी features पूछे उसमें hub and spoke model डाल दो. बट एक चीज का ध्यान रखेंगे, जब भी कंपैरिजन कॉन्ट्रास्ट पूछेंगे, यू विल ऑलवेज मेक अ टेबल. इट लुक्स गुड. अब आपको अभी मैंने बताया नॉर्थ इंडिया साउथ इंडिया किनशिप सिस्टम पूछते हैं, तो अब आपका आंसर तैयार होना चाहिए. इनफैक्ट मुझे वो दिखा देना चाहिए था, नॉर्थ इंडियन इधर, साउथ इंडियन इधर, एंड वॉट एवर पैरामीटर्स यू आर कंपेयरिंग विथ. सो प्रिपेयर वन टेबल एंड यू आर गुड टू गो. अब मुझे पता है कि ट्राइब से रिलेटेड घूरे और एल्विन का पर्सपेक्टिव आए दिन पूछते हैं, और दे विल आस्क यू पॉलिसी ऑफ असिमिलेशन वर्सेस पॉलिसी ऑफ आइसोलेशन. तो जब मुझे पता है पूछ रहे हैं तो एक टेबल तैयार कर लेते हैं. सिमिलरली आप पेपर 1 में नोटिस करना कि हमें पता होता है मर्टन की अनोमी विसिवी डरकाइन पूछते ही है. कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ क्लास मार्क्स वर्सेस वेबर. Division of labor, Marx versus Durkheim. Very strong possibility these questions are asked. Stratification, Marx versus Weber. और functional versus conflict. ये अभी सर आके बात करेंगे कि पेपर 1 में ये क्वेश्चंस आते हैं जब पता है कि कंपेयर कॉन्ट्रास्ट आ रहा है. Prepare the table. Is it making sense for everyone? This is how the notes have to be prepared. ये मैंने इसमें और भी डाल रखा है, आप देख सकते हो. ग्लोबलाइजेशन और नेशनलिज्म का रिलेशन आए दिन हर बार आता है कि ग्लोबलाइजेशन हाउ इट इज इंपैक्टिंग नेशनल आइडेंटिटी, हाउ इट इज इंपैक्टिंग सिटीजनशिप, हाउ इट इज इंपैक्टिंग नेशनलिज्म, और द रिलेशन बिटवीन ग्लोबलाइजेशन एंड नेशन. तो कैन वी मेक सच डायग्राम? हाउ इट इंपैक्ट्स नेशनलिज्म, हाउ एंड हाउ इट इज नॉट इंपैक्टिंग. तो येस एंड नो, और एक बॉक्स में बना दो और उसके बाद अपना आंसर लिखो. That will increase the visibility of your answer. Try practicing this whenever you get time. Does this apply to GS? Yes. Barring essay, you can use these strategies in all your GS paper, even ethics also. It will work for you. एक चीज है, although I will be taking a separate session on answer writing, जो मैं next week की बात कर रही हूँ, उसमें मैं बहुत डिटेल में बताऊंगी कि आंसर राइटिंग कैसे करना है, कीवर्ड, इंट्रोडक्शन, बॉडी, कंक्लूजन, वो सब हम वहाँ डिस्कस करेंगे. अभी के लिए बस एक चीज़ बता देती हूँ. whenever you prepare sociology paper 2, in case you are doing it on your own, please prepare the broad templates. ब्रॉड टेम्पलेट्स का मेरा मतलब है कुछ ऐसे थ्योरीज होती हैं जो बाय डिफॉल्ट बहुत जगह अप्लाई हो जाती हैं. जैसे अगर किसी ने भी कभी पढ़ा है सोशियोलॉजी तो उन्होंने पढ़ा होगा पीर बुर्दुए का कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ रिप्रोडक्शन ऑफ कल्चर. उन्होंने ये कॉन्सेप्ट दिया था कि यूजुअली क्या होता है, जो डोमिनेंट कल्चर होता है वही बार बार रिप्रोड्यूस होता है सोसाइटी में. तो ये बात पीर बुर्दुए ने कह रखी है. वैसे ही एंटोनियो ग्रामशी का कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ हेजेमनी, माइकल फूको का कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ पावर, वैसे ही स्टीवन ल्यूक्स का कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ फेसेस ऑफ पावर, वैसे ही जीन बॉद्रियात का कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ हाइपर रियलिटी, गाय स्टैंडिंग का कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ प्रिकेरिएट, ये सब आप पढ़ोगे. ये कुछ ऐसे टेम्पलेट्स हैं जो बहुत जगह यूज होते हैं. जैसे कोई भी क्वेश्चन आ जाए सोशल मीडिया पे, कोई भी क्वेश्चन आ जाए डिजिटलाइजेशन पे, कोई भी क्वेश्चन आ जाए सोशल चेंज पे, मुझे पता है कि गिग इकोनॉमी पे आ जाए. एक कॉन्सेप्ट होता है इंटरसेक्शनैलिटी, जहां पे क्या होता है, लेट अस सपोज कोई विमेन पे क्वेश्चन है बट आप उसमें इंटरसेक्शनैलिटी लगा दो दैट विमेन इज डिप्राइव्ड बट अ विमेन बिलोंगिंग टू लोअर कास्ट इज मोर डिप्राइव्ड, विमेन बिलोंगिंग टू ट्राइब्स आर मोर डिप्राइव्ड. हम क्या कर रहे हैं, इंटरसेक्शन. पुअर विमेन इज मोर डिप्राइव्ड, तो हमने जेंडर का इंटरसेक्शन किसके साथ कर दिया, क्लास, ट्राइब्स, कास्ट. डिड यू गेट माई पॉइंट? ठीक है, तो इंटरसेक्शनैलिटी बाय किम्बरली क्रेनशॉ. तो ये ब्रॉड टेम्पलेट्स होते हैं, ये हमेशा रेडी होने चाहिए. और ये कैसे पढ़ोगे, जैसे रोज पढ़ रहे थे, अब पढ़ते पढ़ते बोर हो गए, तो 1 घंटा हम रोज अपना देंगे वैल्यू एनरिचमेंट को. तो एक बेसिक चीज बता देती हूँ. आप आजकल मैं ये मान सकती हूँ आप GS ऑप्शनल दोनों पढ़ने का सोच रहे हो साथ में, ठीक है. बस इतना ध्यान रखना, एक दिन अगर आप ऑप्शनल पढ़ रहे हो आज के दिन, minimum 4 hours has to be given to the optional along with half an hour more for answer writing. तो एटलीस्ट 4.5 hours should be given to the optional. क्योंकि जब तक इतना टाइम नहीं दो, अच्छा सुनो, सपोज करो क्लास कर रहे हो तो नहीं, घबराओ नहीं. ऐसे मैं ये नहीं कह रही 4.5 घंटा आफ्टर क्लास, नहीं, क्लास सपोज करो 2.5 से 3 घंटे की हो गई, तो हमारे पास कितना समय बचा, 1.5 घंटा. तो 1.5 घंटा घर पे पढ़ना है, और उस 1.5 घंटे में क्या करना है, जो क्लास में पढ़ाया गया है वो रिवाइज कर दो. बहुत नहीं पढ़ना है, 8 घंटे पढ़ना है केवल, क्लासेस इंक्लूड करके. ये भी मत सोचना कि क्लासेस एक्सक्लूड करके 8 घंटे बोल रही हूं, पागल है, सांस कब लेंगे, जिएंगे कब. तो इतना नहीं प्रेशर लेना है, अगले साल एग्जाम देना है, तो इतना प्रेशर हम नहीं ले पाएंगे. लेकिन 4.5 घंटे सपोज करो तुमने ऑप्शनल पढ़ा, 2.5 घंटा तुम GS पढ़ लो, 1 घंटा बस तुम अपना करंट अफेयर्स, जो भी तुमको मैगजीन में 2 ही पन्ने मन करे, बट 1 घंटा करंट अफेयर्स को रोज दो. एटलीस्ट फ्लिप थ्रू योर न्यूज़पेपर, इफ नॉट मेकिंग द नोट्स एटलीस्ट फ्लिप. लेकिन मेरा एक चीज का बस है कि रात में सोने से पहले आधा घंटा लगे या 1 घंटा जो पूरे दिन पढ़ा है उसको रिवाइज कर लो। और जैसे सपोज करो कभी कभी होता है ना कि चेयर टेबल पे बैठ के पढ़ने का मन नहीं कर रहा, जस्ट लाई डाउन, क्लोज योर आइज एंड जस्ट विजुअलाइज कि आज पूरे दिन क्या क्या पढ़ा था। रिकॉलिंग इज ऑटोमेटिकली डन। ठीक है, एक काम और करेंगे छोटा सा, रोज आधा घंटा वैल्यू एडिशन करेंगे, चाहे जीएस का करें, चाहे एसए का करें, चाहे ऑप्शनल का करें। ट्रस्ट मी, मजा आता है एग्जाम्पल्स ढूंढने में। और अब तो चैट जीपीटी है, चैट जीपीटी पे जाओ और एग्जाम्पल ढूंढो, चाहे जीएस के ढूंढो, चाहे एथिक्स के ढूंढो, चाहे एसए के ढूंढो, चाहे ऑप्शनल के ढूंढो, लेकिन रोज आधा घंटा। क्योंकि अगर ये सोचोगे ना कि एक बार पढ़ लेते हैं, लास्ट में वैल्यू एडिशन करें, कभी तो पढ़ाई पूरी नहीं होगी, वैल्यू एडिशन कब होगा? रोज आधा पौन घंटा अगर तुम वैल्यू एडिशन करोगे, और ये सब जो इतना मैंने टाइम बताया इसको तुम कैलकुलेट कर लो, इट कम्स डाउन टू 9 आवर्स। 9 घंटे तो हम पढ़ ही सकते हैं इस एग्जाम के लिए, ठीक है ना? तो इतना आपको करना है। वीक में एक दिन अपने लिए फ्री रखो, जिस दिन जो करने का मन हो। नेटफ्लिक्स पे सीरीज देखो और ऐसी देखना जो उसी दिन खत्म हो जाए, पता चला नहीं तो एक दिन का फ्री टाइम तुम्हारा 2 दिन का बन गया। ये एक मैंने टेम्पलेट तैयार किया था और सीरियसली इट वर्क्स। ये मैंने खुद अप्लाई करके देखा कि पेपर 2 में अक्सर एक क्वेश्चन आता है एजेंट एंड सोशल चेंज। तो हमने सोचा कैसे करें, तो हमने सोचा डेफिनेशन ऑफ द एजेंट और उस पे सोशियोलॉजिकल पर्सपेक्टिव्स, हाउ दैट एजेंट इनिशिएट चेंज, हाउ दैट एजेंट इनहैंसेस द एग्जिस्टिंग चेंज, हाउ दैट एजेंट इज हिंडरिंग चेंज एंड हाउ दैट एजेंट अफेक्टेड बाय सोशल चेंज। मैंने ये टेम्पलेट तैयार कर लिया। फिर मैंने सिलेबस देखा, एजुकेशन एंड चेंज, टेक्नोलॉजी एंड चेंज, लॉ एंड चेंज, जुडिशरी एंड चेंज, पब्लिक पॉलिसी एंड चेंज। तो जब ये टेम्पलेट तैयार हो गया, उसके बाद definition, theoretical views on education and change, how education initiate change, how education enhance the change, hindrance to the change and how education is affected by change. टेम्पलेट पहले तैयार किया और उसमें सारे पॉइंट्स ऐड कर दिए। वैसे ही लॉ एंड सोशल चेंज, वैसे ही जुडिशरी एंड चेंज, वैसे ही टेक्नोलॉजी एंड चेंज। और आपको पता है क्वेश्चन आ रहा है तो तैयार कर लो। डिड यू गेट द पॉइंट? तो बहुत स्ट्रैटेजिकली तैयार करना, बहुत कम समय में अच्छा ऑप्शनल तैयार हो जाएगा। कहां गया? आई थिंक दिस वी हैव ऑलरेडी डन। एक बार इसको बस देख लो, कुछ 1-2 चीजें, और इसको मैं आंसर राइटिंग सेशन में और डिटेल में करा दूंगी, बिकॉज आई थिंक अनदर फैकल्टी हैज टू टॉक अबाउट पेपर 1. So, answer writing part I will discuss with you in detail. हाँ, ये मैं एक चीज दिखाना चाह रही थी। जीएस का एक टॉपिक था चाइल्ड लेबर। सेम टॉपिक इज देयर इन योर सोशियोलॉजी, और सोशियोलॉजी में हर दूसरे साल चाइल्ड लेबर पे सवाल भी आता है, आप चेक कर लो। चाइल्ड लेबर, इनफॉर्मल सेक्टर, देयर फेवरेट टॉपिक, दे विल बी आस्किंग। जब मैंने उसका कॉजेस तैयार करे तो पुश फैक्टर एंड पुल फैक्टर, एंड इफ एनीबडी इज माई जीएस स्टूडेंट दे नो दैट दिस ये जो पीपीटी मैं प्रोवाइड कराती हूं, पुश फैक्टर एंड पुल फैक्टर, इसी जीएस में मैंने थिंकर्स ऐड कर दिए एंड दिस बिकम सोशियोलॉजी। थिंकर हटा दिए तो इट बिकम्स जीएस। बस इतना करना है। तो मैं वही बताना चाह रही हूं, आप सिर्फ 250 नंबर पेपर 2 नहीं तैयार कर रहे हो, आप 125 नंबर का सोसाइटी प्लस सोशल जस्टिस ऑल्सो यू आर प्रिपेयरिंग। So in a way you are preparing for 375 marks if you focus on this paper too. So exactly these are the important books that needs to be focused upon. खुल जाए तो देख लेना यार, पीपीटी में है। These are the detailed books. थोड़ी ज़्यादा है, नहीं भी करोगे तो चलेगा। ये टॉपिक वाइज है, इसमें बस इतना करना। हर एक टॉपिक के लिए मैंने बहुत सारे सोर्सेज दिए हैं, यू डोंट हैव टू रीड एवरी सोर्स। आई वुड सजेस्ट स्टिक टू इग्नू, इग्नू से स्टिक करना। हर एक टॉपिक के लिए देखो बहुत सारे सोर्सेज हैं, उसमें बस ये है कि थ्योरेटिकल पर्सपेक्टिव के लिए बी के नागला इंडियन सोशियोलॉजिकल थॉट पढ़ लेना. बाकी सारे टॉपिक्स में जहां जहां इग्नू की जो बुकलेट मेंशन करी है, यू कैन गो थ्रू दैट बुकलेट. बट अगेन आई विल सजेस्ट फर्स्ट गो थ्रू योर सिलेबस, then go through your PYQ, then do the deconstruction of syllabus, and for every topic prepare 2-page ka write up, and then start solving the answers of PYQ, or start joining any test series and give the answers. You will get the idea. Finally, how to write the answer, as I have already told you, I'll take a separate session for that, because मुझे लगेगा 2 घंटा कम से कम आंसर राइटिंग सिखाने में. तो आंसर राइटिंग का सेशन मैं नेक्स्ट वीक लूंगी सेपरेटली. I'll take around 1.5 hours or 2 hours, but I'll discuss in detail कि इंट्रोडक्शन कैसे तैयार करना है, बॉडी कैसे लिखनी है, कंक्लूजन, और हर क्वेश्चन की डिमांड को सेपरेटली कैसे केटर करना है. सो इफ वी कंबाइन बोथ द सेशंस, यू आर गुड टू गो विथ पेपर 2. इज इट मेकिंग सेंस फॉर एवरीवन? ठीक है. सो ऑन दिस नोट, कैन आई कंक्लूड द सेशन? Did you understand my intention? Did you understand what is the syllabus? How to approach the syllabus, how to deconstruct the topic, how to prepare your notes, how to incorporate thinkers, diagrams, flowcharts. Did we get this idea? ये intention clear हो रहा है ना सबको? तो I will conclude the lecture here. So another faculty will come and join. ठीक है? चलो. Thank you.
What sets AIR2 and AIR3 apart in UPSC CSE 2024? They didn't wait to feel ready. They started smart with the GS Foundation course at Vision IS Delhi. Structured learning, focused current affairs, real mentorship, test feedback that actually helps you grow. This course isn't just about study hours. It's about direction, clarity, and the strategy toppers trust. Start strong. Start where toppers started.
UPSC preparation is not just about reading books or watching online lectures. It requires personal guidance, real discussions, and structured practice. This is where offline mentoring makes all the difference. Unlike online learning, where doubts often remain unresolved, offline mentoring offers direct interaction, real-time feedback, and an environment of discipline and competition. One-to-one sessions help students get tailored advice, strategy corrections, and focused improvement. Every aspirant has different strengths and weaknesses. Personal mentoring helps address them effectively. Ground discussions sharpen analytical thinking and help students develop a multi-dimensional perspective on issues crucial for prelims, mains, and interview. Elocution sessions help in personality development, clarity of thought, and confidence, essential for UPSC interviews. Test writing is the most crucial part of UPSC preparation. It helps in time management, structuring answers, and improving content quality. Offline mentoring is not just about teaching, it's about grooming future officers with the right guidance, discipline, and confidence. So if you are preparing for UPSC, make sure you have the right mentor by your side.
still juggling newspapers, random notes, and endless PDFs trying to make sense of current affairs? Let's make your UPSC prep smarter. Introducing Digital Current Affairs Premium by Vision IAS, your all-in-one platform to read, revise, and write better every single day. Have a doubt from today's news or something in your syllabus? Just ask and get instant AI-powered answers that are concise, relevant, and completely aligned with the UPSC exam pattern. No more guesswork, no more confusion. Want to boost your mains writing skills? Practice daily with structured questions and get expert feedback to sharpen your content, clarity, and analysis, because writing well is winning half the battle. Need better revision? Use quick notes and highlights to save key points, mark important lines, and organize your current affairs in a way that actually works for you. And here's the best part: some of the most powerful tools are absolutely free. Daily news summaries from The Hindu, Indian Express, and more, curated, filtered, and exam ready. Downloadable PDFs so your notes stay organized and accessible. Daily quizzes and MCQs to reinforce what you've learned and track your progress. A smart student dashboard to monitor your performance and stay on top of your goals. Whether you're just starting or deep into your prep, Digital Current Affairs Premium adapts to your strategy and makes every minute count. So why prepare the hard way when you can prepare the smart way? Visit www.visionis.in/current-affairs and start transforming your current affairs prep today. Because with Vision IAS, you don't just stay updated, you stay ahead. UPSC CSE 2024 results are out and dreams have turned into ranks. Now you are asking, how do I get there? You've got the drive. What you need is the right guidance. Lakshya Integrated Mentoring Program 2026 by Vision IAS is your one-stop guidance program for prelims, mains, and interview. Smart, strategic revision for prelims and mains. Consistent mentorship with personalized feedback. Daily weekly schedule and practice targets. Custom test practice via Sandhan test series. Interview and personality test training. All of it structured to guide you, strategic to keep you focused, and designed to meet your evolving needs. New batch starts from 19th May. It's your turn now. Start strong with Lakshya Mentoring Program 2026.
What sets AIR2 and AIR3 apart in UPSC CSE 2024? They didn't wait to feel ready. They started smart with the GS Foundation course at Vision IS Delhi. Structured learning, focused current affairs, real mentorship, test feedback that actually helps you grow. This course isn't just about study hours, it's about direction, clarity, and the strategy toppers trust. Start strong. Start where toppers started.
UPSC preparation is not just about reading books or watching online lectures. It requires personal guidance, real discussions, and structured practice. This is where offline mentoring makes all the difference. Unlike online learning, where doubts often remain unresolved, offline mentoring offers direct interaction, real-time feedback, and an environment of discipline and competition. One-to-one sessions help students get tailored advice, strategy corrections, and focused improvement. Every aspirant has different strengths and weaknesses. Personal mentoring helps address them effectively. Ground discussions sharpen analytical thinking and help students develop a multi-dimensional perspective on issues crucial for prelims, mains, and interview. Elocution sessions help in personality development, clarity of thought, and confidence, essential for UPSC interviews. Test writing is the most crucial part of UPSC preparation. It helps in time management, structuring answers, and improving content quality. Offline mentoring is not just about teaching. It's about grooming future officers with the right guidance, discipline, and confidence. So if you are preparing for UPSC, make sure you have the right mentor by your side.
Are you still juggling newspapers, random notes, and endless PDFs trying to make sense of current affairs? Let's make your UPSC prep smarter. Introducing Digital Current Affairs Premium by Vision IAS, your all-in-one platform to read, revise, and write better every single day. Have a doubt from today's news or something in your syllabus? Just ask and get instant AI-powered answers that are concise, relevant, and completely aligned with the UPSC exam pattern. No more guesswork, no more confusion. Want to boost your mains writing skills? Practice daily with structured questions and get expert feedback to sharpen your content, clarity, and analysis, because writing well is winning half the battle. Need better revision? Use quick notes and highlights to save key points, mark important lines, and organize your current affairs in a way that actually works for you. And here's the best part, some of the most powerful tools are absolutely free. Daily news summaries from The Hindu, Indian Express, and more, curated, filtered, and exam ready. Downloadable PDFs so your notes stay organized and accessible. Daily quizzes and MCQs to reinforce what you've learned and track your progress. A smart student dashboard to monitor your performance and stay on top of your goals. Whether you're just starting or deep into your prep, Digital Current Affairs Premium adapts to your strategy and makes every minute count. So why prepare the hard way when you can prepare the smart way? Visit www.visionis.in/current-affairs and start transforming your current affairs prep today. Because with Vision IAS, you don't just stay updated, you stay ahead.
All right, so I'm sure you have been told already a lot of things. So I'll keep my session to the point and precise. But before that, if you want to ask anything, because obviously you got a session now, and I'm sure ma'am has answered already so many things. But then even if any question unturned, if anything coming in your mind, regarding sociology, then I'll start. If anything, any kind of question. No. Fine. So, I'm sure that now you've been told that what sociology is an optional is, what exactly is the merits of paper 2, what to do in paper 2, how to approach overall in the subject. I'll add something into that. First thing first, whenever you're choosing your optional, what you should consider in mind. Because look, this is one of those decisions which are going to determine a lot of things. Fine. And what I often found those who are students preparing for civil services, those who are not understanding Hindi, for them I'll translate this line, but there's a very good line in Hindi that says, कि लोग काम नहीं करते, काम का जिक्र करते हैं और जिक्र करने की पूरी फिक्र करते हैं. They talk a lot about the things. They're not studying, but they're worried how to write an answer, how to write an introduction, how to write a conclusion. If you know the content, these things are mostly self-answered. Trust me, in those 7 minutes, when you're rushing for writing an answer, all these things, they wither away in your mind. They do wither away. In those 7 minutes when you're writing the answer, what you actually can recall is just the content. The content you have read, the content you have understood, the content you have revised. So it is very essential, because obviously, if you ask me, I'll say sociology is a good optional. But what I would like to say that you should take this call, because this is definitely one of the turning point that which optional you should take. While deciding optional, there are 3 things you should consider in your mind. First thing first, it's your interest. Because if you don't have interest in anything, any subject, you can't study even 10 pages, 20 pages, no matter how short, crispier that syllabus is. So obviously, your interest in the subject is something which is of paramount significance. If you're not having interest, you can't go further. Now, how we'll come to know that whether you have interest in the subject or not? Though there's a tested formula that you are reading in most of the NCERT things. In your GS, you are reading a lot of things. So whatever subject you have read in GS, from there you can get a kind of hint that which subject could be of your interest. So identifying this thing, before you take the final call, there should be a provisionary test also for 10-15 days. Let's say you have shortlisted, because I don't know how many of you are knowing, but let me start with something very fundamental, then I'll come and continue on this journey. If I ask you, this is one of my favorite questions I often do ask to the unknown, to the strangers, to know how much they are understanding UPSC. If I ask you, it's a simple work on my behalf, that please recruit one cook for me. I'm requesting you that please do recruit one cook for me. You said, no problem, sir. The cook will be recruited. We will conduct a test. So you notified in the newspaper, cook needed. There will be a test on this particular day. On the basis of test and an interaction, the candidate will be selected. So let's say 4 or 5 candidates turned up, and you gave the question, write about cabbage. Mr. A writes now. Mr. A is writing the botanical name of cabbage, all the details of botanical details of cabbage, that all that botany, floral formula, this family, this group and all that. All the botany he was knowing about cabbage, that fellow wrote. Will you recruit this fellow? Why? Come on, look at his intellect. He's such an intellectual fellow, knows so much. Why won't you recruit this fellow? Who will recruit that fellow? First raise your hand. No one. Why? Such an intellectual, such an informed fellow, knows so much about cabbage. Why not? Answer me. क्योंकि खाना बनवाना था. आपको क्या लग रहा है यूपीएससी क्या ढूंढ रही है? Academicians. Had we wanted academician, we would have said at least postgraduate with this much of distinctions. You should have net JRF in that subject. We are to saying you take any subject, I'm least bothered whether you have done graduation in the subject or not. I'm saying pick up any subject of your choice. Here is the list of 22 subjects. Pick up any subject of your choice. Do you really think it's an academic pursuit? And most of them are chasing it like hell, reading a number of books. And once that fellow who did not got selected in the test, what he will think outside? Oh my God, I have read so many books on biology, botany of plants. I wrote a lot about cabbage, yet not got selected. Perhaps I need another book of botany. This is what is happening outside. I hope you are getting my point. That's why not a surprise, the average selection age is less than 25. Had it been actual academic pursuit, it should have been more than 25. Don't trust anyone for what one is saying. It should suit to your logic. So it is definitely, it is anything but an academic pursuit. And most of the good students, those who are talented, working hard, meticulous, giving their time, what's called night and day, they are doing this mistake. They think it is just another academic pursuit. And that's why they're reading n number of books, n number of resources, all those detailings, missing out on fundamental thing that this is an examination where a body is going to recruit civil servants. And who are civil servants? Simply put, managers for government. They are nothing but managers for the government. So they must have certain managerial skills. And what are managerial skills? Knowing the resources, understanding its implementation, understanding what could be the scarcity, what are the challenges, how to have the best usage of the given things. I hope I'm making some sense to you. Now, Mr. A is one who you see outside, and they are giving you a number of advices. They are telling you do this, do that, and this, all those fancy stories. That's why I told लोग काम नहीं करते, काम का जिक्र करते हैं और जिक्र करने की पूरी फिक्र करते हैं. बहुत फिक्र होती है. There are people talking n number of things from YouTube to offline to God knows what. I hope I'm making some sense that first thing first, that has to be clear in your minds that it is not an academic pursuit. Via this examination, they want to see some skills. Now compare this. Mr. A wrote this way, you're not going to recruit Mr. A for sure. Now Mr. B is writing, cabbage can be cooked this way, in gravy, can be cooked in dry this way. Mr. A or Mr. B, whom you will prefer? B. There is another fellow, Mr. C. And Mr. C writes, cabbage can be cooked in dry this way, in gravy this way, has these many vitamins, these many minerals, these people should take cabbage, these people must avoid cabbage, during these days cabbage should be taken, during these days should be avoided, A, B, C. What you liked in C is exactly what they want from you. Trust me, they are looking for those candidates who can be trained out there. Show the skills, managerial skills. I hope I'm making some sense to you now. So the managerial skills, so why you liked C? Because C is using the resource better than B, having more dimensions into it. So if you got 2 seats, you will recommend C and B. If you got 3 seats, you'll say only 2 candidates and 1 candidate not good enough to recruit. Isn't it? So that's why there are days when maybe the full seats are not filled. They say we don't have any candidate to worth recommending. Now if you see this way, clearly what exactly UPSC does, I don't know how many of you are knowing DOPT. How many of you have prepared examination or preparing examination for more than 6 months? Raise your hands, at least knowing the UPSC. What is DOPT? What it does? What it does? Don't you think you should get your order fixed first? The way I requested you that please conduct examination for cook, Government of India has a department called Department of Personnel and Training that request UPSC that please we want some administrators, do conduct an examination and recruit them for us. Recruit them for us. And they also request them to identify that what exactly syllabus is going to be, how to pursue for it, and why they had said 1 optional subject or 2 optional subjects earlier. There was a reason for it. And that's why I think this orientation, because I know you have been already told a lot about strategy and all. So there is no point of repeating it. I would like to add some value addition in that. So first thing first, you need to understand that this is not an academic pursuit, and that's why mindlessly chasing books are not going to help. That reading a number of books, यहाँ से पढ़ लिया, वहाँ से पढ़ लिया, ये भी पढ़ लिया, वो भी, हाँ, it may satisfy your whims and fancies. Your whims and fancies, but if you really want to get selected, you need to clarify this, that it's not an academic pursuit. You have to keep your resources very limited, but you have to be more analytical. The way questions are being asked, understand this point, the way questions are being asked, they are bound to have an algorithm algorithm, and if you understand that algorithm, that why they're asking to compare. If they're asking to compare between Marx and Weber, they want to see that as a manager, whether you can see the positive of both, the negative of both, in which context A is good, in which context B is good. Because there will be days when you have to actually recruit a reckless and you have to recruit a meticulous man for a given job. So as a bureaucrat, sometimes you have to actually identify reckless fellows. You need them also. And you need what is called sometimes one who can diligently handle the case. So they want to know whether you have these kind of things. That's why most of the time comparisons, analysis, and these kind of things are being asked. So we are least bothered which subject you are reading. What they want to know whether you have that skill or not. So the answer, the way you are going to write answer is something which will be telling you a lot. And this is what we will be working on, obviously. So first thing first, your resources should be limited. Your resources should be limited, and you should be doing more analysis. And you read anything for the first time, you just get acquainted with it. You read it for second time, you start understanding. You read it for third time, you start knowing the thing, and by fourth time, you're ready to apply it. That's why in this examination, everyone had said, every topper is bound to say this. I'm saying bound to say this, that read less but revise more. It's like that street. When you go first time, you somehow know the street. Second time, you get acquaintance. Third time, you are familiar. Fourth time, you know how to hide out. How to hide out. That is how, you can actually maneuver with the questions. So, whenever you are picking up any optional, the first and foremost important thing is whether you have interest or not. Because if you don't have interest, you have taken because XYZ has taken it, because it is very popular, because teachers are popular, whatever. If you are not having interest, you can't pursue for long. So that should be the first criteria, that whether you have interest in the subject or not. And to identify it, just go with your simple GS. Most of the subjects are there. Because if you shortlist out of the given list of optionals, you will end up with 4 or 5 subjects. Most of the students are taking those subjects only. Why? Because the rest of the subjects are way too technical. So first thing first, that your interest. Second, now this is where sociology helps you. That whatever subject you are taking should be less technical, so can be done in the time frame, and should be overlapping in your GS sizably. Again, look, why I'm saying all these things, because your UPSC is so meticulous body. I will give 2 things to argument in my support. I'm sure you're knowing that we have corruption in India. We can't deny this. We can't deny this. How come UPSC is so honest? Have you ever thought this? How come UPSC is so honest? And don't you think if they were corrupt, people would have taken money in trucks? I'm not kidding. How come UPSC is so honest? Have you ever thought this way? Look, don't get into that fashionable discussions unnecessarily. Ye padhna, wo padhna, ye kharidna, wo kharidna. People are buying books, not reading it. Sorry to say this way. They are buying. They are book buying people, not book reading people. Why UPSC is so honest? क्या लगता है सर आपको? यूपीएससी इतनी ईमानदार कैसे है सिस्टम में? या आप चलिए थोड़ा दूर का एग्जांपल हो गया, पास का एग्जांपल देखते हैं. How come metro is so clean while outside it is not? The answers are same. Institution building. Institution building. When you make a good institution, even in your absence it works. UPSC is one such institution which was made that way, and that's why such institution can't go flip-flop. अगर वो कह रहे हैं कि कोई भी optional लो, तो optional is not the priority. They want to see something else. That's why I'm putting my argument. Now, आप मुझे बताओ, if I ask you, what are those factors which made this classroom possible? I'm asking a simple question, that what are those factors which made this classroom possible? What's going to be your answer? Yes, anyone? I'm saying, what are those factors which made this classroom possible, this orientation session possible? Infrastructure? Sorry, ma'am? Infrastructure, louder. Infrastructure and teachers, interaction, resources, advertisement, students, brand value of capital. That's what the second thing you should be focusing upon. So first, it's not an academic pursuit. Read less but revise more. Second, I deliberately wrote factors. Were you listening me carefully? मैंने खुद बताया एक से ज़्यादा है. Haven't I? I said 3-4 times, factors, factors. That's the second thing they expect from you. Precision. A good listener who can identify even the trash in the entire baggage. Most of the people beat the bush. They are sloppy. They read but can't see those precisions. And these are the questions they ask. And then you say, oh, ye to padha tha, but how come this? And once they ask, you again chase the same question without understanding that what they're actually looking at. How good listener you are, how precise. Tej aankhein jisko bolte hain Hindi, sharp eyes, which can note the minor things also. That's why solving PYQ is not good enough. That is your anchor to understand how to read carefully. I'm not saying PYQ is an anchor. It's very much needed. Because usse aapko kya dhyan rakhna hai? While doing PYQ, don't just read, okay, this is the question, this is the answer. Look sharply why the question was asked. Even this year prelims, a lot of discussions are there. Not a single question was not there which was not relevant. Something has happened in this year, that's why that question was asked. You name it, I'll tell you why this question was asked. Something big happened in this year. Now you do this reverse engineering. I strongly recommend, take any question, do the Google search, and you'll see Indian Express, another newspaper, has talked so many news about it. So many news about it. So, not randomly asked. They are asking something which is happening around because they had said it very clearly. When we say GS, GS means something which a common man, vigilant man should know without expertise in that subject. And when we say optional, in optional what they expect? They expect that specialization. There is one thing called specialized generalization. I don't know how many of you knowing, because Indian bureaucracy has shifted from 2006 onwards to a new expectation of 21st century. In fact, if you see that in second paper, there's a topic also. And that's why I often say, आपको लगता है आपकी तैयारी अच्छी है या आपको लगता है आपके दोस्त की तैयारी अच्छी है, एक छोटा सा टेस्ट करके देखेगा, उसे सिलेबस पूछेगा. अगर उसे सिलेबस नहीं पता तो he is deceiving himself or herself, full stop. I have seen people talking big, blah, blah, all stories. और सिलेबस में भाई साहब ये बताओ सिलेबस में है भी? They don't know. So I asked you, what are those factors? What are those factors? मैंने खुद कहा एक से ज़्यादा है. I was telling you something. But आपने उसको ध्यान नहीं दिया. मैं बड़ा precisely बोल रहा था, बार-बार बोल रहा था, उसको emphasize कर रहा था कि देखो, we will work on it. In fact, while reading, whether you're reading here or anywhere, read less, but read with that sharp eye. That each and every sentence in that GS paper, in that optional paper of 180 minutes, each and every minute should be with precision. And that's why I don't believe that go too much prepared in the mind. Because many times if you have too much of things in your mind, it may boomerang there. You should be knowing that. That's why Sachin Tendulkar once said a very good line, and I'm a hardcore fan of this: don't look at the baller, look at the ball. Even a street boy can throw a very good ball, and best of the ballers can also give you loose balls. Look at the ball. And what do? You prepare, अच्छा Shoaib Akhtar है, तो मैं ऐसे करूँगा. Shoaib Akhtar, if knows you are too much prepared, will spin the ball then. Will spin the ball because you have prepared too much. I hope I'm trying to communicate a few things to you. I'm actually unlearning a few things into you, to be honest. I want you to unlearn a few things first. So, I said, what are those factors? You all were right. किसी ने student कहा, technology कहा, all that. You all were right, but you all were incomplete. In general, for anything, there are 4 factors responsible. In management, they call it system theory. And in your optional, you will read one fellow, Talcott Parsons, who has also talked about it, called Agilsky. So in general, everything is guided by 4 things. Something structural, something political, something economic, something cultural, or fiduciary. Fiduciary is what? Trust, morality, and all these. Something structural, something political, something economic, and something fiduciary or cultural. Not a surprise, your GS have 4 papers. Paper 1 is structure, paper 2 is political, paper 3 economic and science, paper 4 morality and ethics. It's not just coincidence. A meticulous body is bound to perform meticulously. And that's why no matter how long the syllabus of paper 1 is, they kept all the structural thing in paper 1. What I'm trying to prove is, इतने methodical लोग ऐसे randomly optional नहीं बोल देंगे कि कोई भी optional ले लो. That means they want to see something else in you. I hope I'm putting my logic in front of you. Because obviously, it's very easy to say something which you like. It's very easy to cook stories, saying flowery things and all. But if you really want the solution, you have to identify the problem at the core. So one of the greatest mistake people do, think it's an academic examination. Second, they go sloppy. They just beat the bush, reading things, listening songs, yet reading. Reading should be very precise. If you are reading 1 page in less than 20 minutes, you're doing something wrong. कम से कम 20 मिनट एक पेज के लिए, उससे कम अगर लग रहे हैं तो आप मिस कर रहे हो. और वैसे भी your generation is having one problem, sorry to say this way, but they call it, this year economic survey has used this term, they call that this generation is having what is called, they are having attention deficit, because they are doing doom scrolling. Doom scrolling. It's all about how much attentive we are. This, I think you in your generation or in this generation, what you call Gen Zs, most of you sounding Gen Zs, I'm sure you're knowing Gen Zs. Gen Zs need to add this thing in their basket also. How to add precision. How to be more attentive. Because attention span for some other, that's why, to be honest, I don't know to name her, but I'm very thankful the way she openly said in almost all platforms on and off that this fellow had his advices. I don't advise in the personal capacity. Whatever I say in the class, if you're listening carefully, could be of useful. I often advise students to refrain from mobile at least 2 months before the prelims examination. That will be of very help. If needed, use and search things on laptop. Refrain completely from mobile. I know it's difficult. This is going to be punishment for you. Not using mobile for 2 hours is very difficult. Forget about 2 months. But it has yielded result. It has yielded result because, you need to, the precision. So one thing which you have to also identify is, trust me, kuch nahi ja raha. Nothing is going, you're going to lose nothing. हाँ, ये ज़रूर है कि अगर आप थोड़ा सा मेटिकुलस अगर होते हो तो जाहिर सी बात है आप व्हाट यू आर गोइंग टू अचीव आफ्टर दैट. आई ऑफन से दिस सिविल सर्विसेज स्पेशली फॉर द ग्रेट मिडिल क्लास इज लाइक सांप सीढ़ी खेली है कभी भी 10 नंबर से सीढ़ी जाती है 99 पे, ये वही वाली सीढ़ी है. And you can achieve a lot of things with this examination, no doubt, for you, for your family, and looking bigger even for your nation. So second thing you have to understand while choosing an optional, if it is less technical, that precision might not be that much required. Like in sociology, you can go sometime a little loose also. Trust me, here the bow will not break, because in technical subjects, the bow will break, and bow breaks, so cradle fall. So obviously, यहाँ पे कम से कम ये है कि in sociology, it never happens that someone is not scoring less than 120, 130. That's why Me Too is a theory. Not that hashtag Me Too. Me Too is a theory that says, आपने कभी सोचा, why if you have to open a goldsmith shop, you open always in that market where already so many shoppers are there. Because footfall will increase and I will have probability. In sociology, the best part is you will never see anyone scoring less than 120, 130 in sociology. Because even if you're writing little casually, commonsensically also, this is the minimal require, something which is guaranteed. And on the upper hand, obviously you can go, because honestly speaking, this is a matter of pride for me. There is a very famous saying by Mitch Albom. Mitch Albom once said, often good students make mediocre teacher great. I had been one such mediocre teacher. I can say to my badge, the sociology's highest scorer happens to be my student. अभी तक की जो examination में highest scorer है since 2008 when syllabus got changed. Why? The precision one. The same thing, that how much precise you are, how much revision you have done. So second thing which you have to understand while picking up any optional, that it should help in your GS. Sociology does so. Sociology help you in paper 1 GS and paper 2 in GS, that I'm sure ma'am have already told you, that in GS paper 1, paper 2, and even to some extent ethics paper also. Sociology is helpful. And third thing which you should consider while picking up any optional is what you can say, whether the material is available or not, whether the peer group is there or not, whether there is competitive environment or not. So when more students are writing any subject, you get more peer groups, you get more material available, and even a competitive atmosphere also to understand that where you stand. This is where sociology, PSIR, these are some of the optionals getting very popular. Because materialism, thankfully in sociology also, with all due respect, I know some people may not consider that book as very good one, but Nitin Sangwan's book, Essentials of Sociology, has served the purpose to a great extent, that all the resources required for paper 1 has compiled at one place. What he did after his selection, he and his wife, though his wife is doctor, they together wrote that book so that you have not to jump here and there for resources. I'm not saying that book is good enough, but good enough to start with. If anyone has done that book thoroughly, again, more analysis and more understanding may help you to score better. And paper 1 is something where 180 is doable, trust me. In paper 2, it will be little difficult because of open-endedness. In paper 1, it is closed-ended. You know the boundaries well, that the questions will be asked with the given boundaries. Questions are repeated often, and that is why in paper 1, I often say your target should be paper 1 150 to 180, paper 2 somewhere 130 to 150. And this is what gives you a general score of 280 plus, which is something, increases your chances manyfold for the interview call then after. Sociology is one of those subjects which help you with this. So I said 3 things to choose optional. First is your call, that whether you like the subject or not. Second, it should be less technical, that it is shorter in syllabus, and yes, it overlaps sizably in paper 1, paper 2. Third, material is available in plethora. There's no dearth of material at all. Plus, the even peer groups and availability of competitive environment is also there. So that is how you should be picking up your optional, and I think that's the reason why only 3-4 optionals are popular. That is what you should be. Now, before you join class of any optional subject anywhere or doing on your own, this is the fundamental question you should give time at. Take 1-2 days, 1-2 दिन लगाइए, पर अपने आप से पूछिए कि is it really my cup of tea or not? Is it really my subject or not? And to know that, आप कोई एक चीज़ पढ़िए उसकी, pick up anything. Like I often say that sociology देखनी तो आप एक काम करो, marks पढ़ लो, easier, और वैसे भी काम आएंगे. Read Marx somewhere, read Durkheim, or for that matter, read any chapter from that introductory sociology NCERT, and then look into the questions asked on that topic and see how comfortable you are. How comfortable you are, because first thing is very important. What I have found, people with general logical common sense, it's very rare that they are not liking the subject. This I am saying in the defense of my subject, that anyone with the general commonsensical logic who likes to talk about what is happening around, why things are changing and all, unko sociology pasand aati hai. Aisa kuch, why? Because I often say, what is sociology? If you ask me, I'll say in one word, sociology is nothing but new eyes to the known world. दुनिया वही होती, बस देखने का नजरिया बदलता है आपका. ऐसा कुछ नया नहीं. Who is not knowing about kinship? Who is not knowing about inequalities in the society? Who is not knowing about various kind of challenges? But हाँ, you may think common sensically. सिर्फ आपका नजरिया बदलता है. What got changes your perspective. Your perspective. Sorry, an important call. क्या लगा, किसकी कॉल थी? मैंने कहा an important call. Wife. Louder. Mother, wife, son, student, director. Oh, you are scaring me. All right. Director is scaring me. All right. Oh. Look, why are you in so haste? Why every question should be answered? Why every question should be answered? इतनी जल्दी में थे क्यों आप? And second, you know what is the answer? Data is insufficient to know what is important to you. दुनिया वही है, बस देखने का नजरिया बदला मैंने आपका. Earlier you were based on common sense, and you know what? Just for the records, जिन्होंने जवाब दिए, this theory in sociology is called inside out. हमें जो important लगता है हम दूसरे के लिए important समझते हैं. What Rumi calls खुद ही में हम सभी को देखें. What Kule calls looking glass self. आपने मुझे बता दिया आपके लिए क्या important है. Because are you getting my point? हुआ क्या, दुनिया वही थी, सब कुछ वही था, वही कॉल, वही सब, सिर्फ देखने का नजरिया बदला. यही है सोशियोलॉजी बस. The world remained the same. The only perspectives get changed. Actually कोई कॉल नहीं थी. I was just giving an example. फोन ही नहीं था तो मतलब खैर ठीक है. All right. There was no call. मैं सिर्फ बताना चाह रहा था what is actually and why it was needed. Because one society in itself, another society in itself can survive with their common sense. But when they came into contact with each other, they started fighting. Who is superior? Whose common sense is superior over other? And that's why it was required to understand that you may worship this God, you may worship this God. You all worship God because this is the reason why religion is required. That's what your earth topic is. Sociology of religion. That why religion is needed. Religion चाहिए क्या होता है? What is this? ID card. Every society needs some ID card. It's an ID card that I belong to which religion, isn't it? And because of this ID card, there are certain do's and don'ts decided. So it's Tuesday and I'm eating chicken. You will be wondering, क्या आदमी है यार? And if I'm not wearing this, you don't have any problem. Isn't it deciding the social control? And let's say you are somewhere, I'm wearing this, you are wearing it, and I'm in trouble. अरे क्या बात हो गई भाई साहब? Helping me, solidarity. यही religion का purpose है. Every society needs something to have a social identity of its members, to have social control on its members, to provide social solidarity between the members. चाहे वो आप इसमें कहें, चाहे कैप पहन ले, चाहे दाढ़ी बढ़ा ले, चाहे टर्बन पहन ले, चाहे क्रॉस बना ले. These are just the symbols. अब this is what? This is sociological understanding why religion needed. And when they came together, they were bound to fight कि our religion is good or our religion is good. We tried, both of you are right, boss. तुम आपने अलग अलग तरीके से देखा, दोनों की बात वही है. बात वही है. Making sense? So best part of, that's why I said कि it is highly unlikely that you won't like the subject. ऐसा बहुत कम दिखता है कि लोगों एक आध जगहों पे देयर माइट बी सम डिफिकल्ट वाटर, लाइक जो लोग सोशियोलॉजी थोड़ा बहुत पढ़ चुके हैं, आई हैव सीन कि कुछ लोगों को टेलकट पार्ट्स में थोड़ी बहुत दिक्कत आती है, बट बाय एंड लार्ज दिस इज वन ऑफ दोज सब्जेक्ट्स जहां पे इट इज वेरी हाईली अनलाइकली दैट समवन इज नॉट लाइकिंग द सब्जेक्ट. And so the first thing is also to some extent tick boxed. So look, again I'll say, this examination is not an academic pursuit. It's all about precision and that refinement which is needed in your personality. If you're sloppy, if you take things lightly, if you're beating the bush, this examination is never for you. And I mean it when I'm saying never for you. You have to inculcate these things. And that's the reason why they had given the optional to identify whether you have this precision or not. Because in GS, identifying this precision is not that easy. So that's why in the given limited subject period, whether you can understand the things better, whether you can analyze it better, whether you have that precision of understanding or not. Now, to choose your optional, I told you there are 3 criteria. So first criteria is whether you like it. Second criteria is whether it is less technical or more technical, whether it is short syllabus or more, and whether it is overlapping in GS or not. And third, I told you that this subject, whatever subject you're choosing an optional, should have availability of material, should be peer groups, and a competitive environment to identify your stand. Now, having said that, if you are going in sociology, now you know, in sociology there are 2 papers, paper 1 and paper 2. As I told you, paper 1 is more doable. Why more doable? Because it is close-ended. Syllabus is very properly redefined, very properly defined. It's close-ended, and that's why generally you will see that people are scoring more in paper 1 and relatively not that much score in paper 2, because paper 2 is more open-ended. Open-ended, they may ask things from here and there. Again, don't trust me because I'm saying or somebody else saying. Look at the statistics. This is what I often say to the student. I don't trust anyone on the face value. जैसे मुझसे मैं कहूँ, अरे देखो मैंने पढ़ाया तुम IAS हो गए, तो आपको पूछना चाहिए, फिर तो आपके सारे बच्चे IAS होने चाहिए थे. That means सिर्फ आपके पढ़ाना से नहीं होता, कुछ और भी होता है. There's another factor which is more important, क्योंकि probability wise आपके पढ़ाए जाने पे सिलेक्शन की probability number of student को divide कर लीजिए selected से. So I believe in logic. I simply believe, you know, there's again, if in Urdu there's a very good line that says, अक्सर वो कहते हैं मेरे अपने हैं, अक्सर क्यों कहते हैं हैरत होती. Too much of explanation means what? You're advertising yourself, full stop. You want to put a stand somewhere. You want to put a stand. और अगर मुझे अपने आप को superior establish करना है, तो एक ही तरीका है, somehow I should let you feel inferior. And somehow I should let you know that I am the solution. ये पावर की थ्योरी में बताऊंगा आपको. पावर ऐसे स्टैब्लिश होता है, किसी तरीके से अगले को ये एहसास करा दीजिए वो इंफीरियर है और मैं ही सोल्यूशन हूं. That's how power is established. We'll read it, Theory of Power, Michael Mann. अब देखिए पॉलिटिशियंस अब हर जहां मैं ही तो सोल्यूशन हूं. आई एम द सोल्यूशन एंड यू आर डिपेंडेंट ऑन मी. जबकि द फैक्ट रिमेन्स, आपसे पहले भी बहुत सारे लोग थे, आपके बाद भी बहुत सारे लोग होंगे. Whether you're understanding this or not, that's why I love my subject, because the subjects actually give that scientific understanding on day-to-day things. Perhaps the most usable subject. कि उन day-to-day पे जो हमारे biasness है, जो हमारे common sense notion थे, they are questioned. So paper 1 is more doable because you have very clear outline, and once understood, the best part of paper 1 is once understood, the only thing you can forget is the names. Not the idea, not the concept. That's why I told you that that is what makes sociology easier, and why most of the students are picking up, even from non-sociology background, because paper once understood, once you have understood the concept, like अब ये power की जो definition है आप भूलेंगे नहीं. हाँ, नाम भले माइकल मैन का भूल जाएंगे अगर रिवीजन नहीं किया तो. That's the only thing you have to get worried about once you have understood the concept. So if you see in paper 1, quickly, if I have to say that way, what I just said, I tried to give you in form of some PPTs also, that those 3 things I said first, that why what you should consider while picking up your optional, that you should have interest, then it should be overlapping and all these things. And look, when we talk about sociology, why sociology is something which is naturally overlapping with UPSC examination, उस पे भी मैं थोड़ी सी बात करना चाहूँगा. Now I'm advertising my subject, so be careful. But yes, I'm trying to put a point. You know what is role of UPSC? What is role of bureaucracy by in general? What is role of bureaucracy in India? How many of you are even aware of? अच्छा कभी सोचा कि कौन सी नौकरी करने जा रहे हैं, क्या काम करते हैं वो, या सिर्फ फैंसीफुल यूट्यूब कन्वर्सेशंस ओनली? ब्यूरोक्रेसी का काम क्या है? व्हाट दे एग्जैक्टली डू? To implement the policies, and before that, what is it? To the government and to implement their policies and all. Anybody else? Establishing law and order. That's one of their jobs, agreed. In simple put, managing the resources for whom? For public welfare. For public welfare, right? And for public welfare, in fact, earlier, before, if you see 2005, or you will read, you might be reading one thing in your GS classes from government to governance, but earlier bureaucracy's role was more of law and order, when it was government. Now bureaucracy's role is more towards governance. छोटा सा एक अंतर बताऊं तो शायद क्लियर हो जाए कि ब्यूरोक्रेसी का काम क्या है. Let's say this room has to be managed, this room is a country. अब यहाँ पे स्टूडेंट्स आएंगे, टेक्निकल इनपुट होना चाहिए, देयर शुड बी एनफ ऑफ अरेंजमेंट फॉर टीचर्स, फॉर द स्टूडेंट्स, सीटिंग अरेंजमेंट, ईटिंग अरेंजमेंट इफ रिक्वायर्ड, देयर एग्जिट प्लान्स, इवैक्यूएशन प्लान्स फॉर अनफोर्सीन सिचुएशन. ये सब आप मैनेज करते हो एज ए पॉलिसी मेकर. सो दिस इज व्हाट यू डू. कुछ भी होना है, गवर्नमेंट के कुछ भी ऑब्जेक्टिव्स हैं, उसको कैसे इंप्लीमेंट करना है, क्या क्या करना है, राइट? इन गवर्नेंस व्हाट यू डू, तो पहले आप क्या कर रहे हो? अगर ये क्लासरूम है और आप मैनेज कर रहे हो, तो आप मैनेज करोगे कि भाई कौन ये काम करेगा, कौन ये काम करेगा, कैसे करेगा. आप एलोकेट करो कि भाई तुम झाड़ू लगाना, तुम कैमरा को देखना, तुम ये देखना, ये देखना. दैट इज व्हाट द ब्यूरोक्रेसी यूज्ड टू डू इन 1950s, 60s, 70s, 80s. नाउ व्हाट इज देयर? दे विल मेक श्योर कि देयर आर एनफ ऑफ पीपल who can do all these things on the behalf of the government. And that's why governance is equal to government plus civil societies. This is a very famous theory of World Bank, that government plus civil societies is equal to governance. तो अब पहले सरकार खुद, अब ज़्यादा क्लासेस हो रही हैं तो ज़्यादा लोग चाहिए होंगे. We need more people for the cleanliness and all. तो गवर्नमेंट को ज़्यादा रिक्रूट करना पड़ेगा. अब गवर्नमेंट क्या कह रही है कि हम खुद से सफाई नहीं करेंगे, हम स्वच्छ भारत अभियान में लोगों को प्रमोट करेंगे कि खुद सफाई रखें, खुद सफाई रखें. दिस इज व्हाट इज गवर्नेंस. ऑब्वियसली आई डोंट वांट टू गेट इनटू टेक्निकलिटीज ऑफ इट, बट मैं कुछ बताना चाह रहा हूं. द पॉइंट इज कि नाउ ब्यूरोक्रेसीज न्यू रोल इज, एंड दिस टॉपिक इज देयर इन सेकंड पेपर, द रोल ऑफ ब्यूरोक्रेसी इन 21st century. नाउ ब्यूरोक्रेसीज न्यू रोल इज टू understand the objectives and impediments in social welfare and to execute it properly. अब वो काम करने के लिए ब्यूरोक्रेसी को क्या होना होगा? They have to be street smarts. और अगर आप ध्यान से देखो तो 2005-6 के बाद टेक्सचर बदला है of those who are getting selected. उससे पहले those students from Delhi University and those, they were over numbering. अब क्या हो रहा है? कोई दूर दराज गांव का भी लड़का, उसका भी हो रहा है. Why? Because job requirement has got changed. और अगर if I could say in simple word, what they want now is called gentlemen loafers, which should have both the traits, that how to get this work done. Now that means you have to have a generalistic overlook of the society to get that maneuvering. अब ये एक रीजन है कि जो आप देखते हो पेपर 3 में, पेपर 2 में जीएस के क्वेश्चंस आ रहे हैं. अगर आप सोशियोलॉजी पढ़ते हो, इफ यू आर स्टडीइंग सोशियोलॉजी और फॉर दैट मैटर इवन पीएसआईआर, तो यू गेट दो जनरल मैन्यूवरिंग नेचुरली. दैट्स द रीजन व्हाई नॉट अ सरप्राइज इन टॉप 100 यू विल देयर दीज टू सब्जेक्ट्स आर डोमिनेटिंग. क्योंकि जो एक्यूमेन यहां आप जनरेट कर रहे हो, दैट नेचुरली विल हेल्प यू देयर. इट्स लाइक दैट इफ यू आर गोलकीपर इन फुटबॉल, यू आर बाउंड टू बी अ गुड विकेट कीपर, #महेंद्र सिंह धोनी. You're bound to be good because आपको वो जो acumen मिल रहा है सोशियोलॉजी में, PSIR में, that helps you there. So that's the reason why, if I say कि यहाँ पे I tried to mention that कि in the changing bureaucracy, what has happened, the role of bureaucracy have got changed more towards public policy, and this is where sociology comes as a natural solution. Then quickly, I know you are getting late, so through I'll cut it short. If you see the syllabus part, quickly those who are listening online also and those who are trying to prepare on their own. In syllabus part, the first topic is sociology, the discipline, and as I already told you that for this entire, The book you can start with is Nitin Sangwan's Essentials of Sociology, which gives you a good compilation of various things at one place. From this topic, sociology the discipline, every year they ask one question in compulsory part. And the preferred topic is sociology and common sense. This is the topic जहाँ से आप सबसे ज़्यादा question देखते हो. Sociology and common sense, and sometimes the comparison between the subject, like sociology, anthropology, sociology, political science, sociology, economics, sociology, history, and their comparison. So for this is good for your 20 mark, what's called those essential questions, compulsory questions, which I hope you're knowing that in both the papers, the first question, the fifth question is compulsory. So in the compulsory part, they are asking short notes on it. Sociology as a science is again one of the topics more frequently asked in short notes, especially the topic like fact, value, and objectivity. Because this D topic, fact, value, and objectivity, is something which gives a better idea whether you are having that scientific acumen or not. Third topic is, which is their favorite topic in paper 1, and invariably every year one short note and one question. They ask research methods, and if I want to know whether knowing the subject or not, I should ask the research methods of that subject. So third topic is very, very important from examination point of view. Fourth topic is the backbone of paper 1. Here we got 6 thinkers: Karl Marx, Emile Durkheim, Max Weber, Talcott Parsons, Robert Merton, and Mead. These 6 thinkers, they are the backbone, and that's why what I prefer, that you should read the thinkers first. Because once you know the thinkers properly, half of the paper 1 is done. Sirf is akele topic se, half of the paper 1 is done, and at least 50-60 marks in paper 2 is covered. Because in paper 2, we have a topic, perspectives on Indian sociology, where you have GS Ghuresh, Srinivas, you have Yogendra Singh. Yogendra Singh is not directly there, but Foundation of Indian Tradition is there. So all these topics are well taken care, even if you understand these thinkers, because they are nothing but the Indian counterpart of these thinkers. George Ritzer is one of the wonderful things, no doubt. But I'm saying to start with, you can start with Nitin Sangwan also, but George Ritzer is one of the best books possible. I'll come to that also in the conclusion. But in the fourth part, yes, George Ritzer's book, and even for that matter, Harlambos also. There is one book, Harlambos, that is Sociology Themes and Perspectives. So this part should be done properly. So there are 3 proper sources which you can use for thinkers. One is Harlambos, Themes and Perspectives. Second is George Ritzer, Rawat publication, publishes it in India. And third is what you can say, IGNU material. Even IGNU material are also very good. Anthony Giddens not needed here. If either of it, either you go with the Ritzer or you go with the Anthony Giddens. Otherwise things are repetitive. Ritzer is one thing which is one of the best books, but difficult to read. No doubt. For the young generation, it's a difficult reading. However, Harlambos is something which fulfills your requirement by and large. Once you have done Harlambos, then you should be reading Ritzer. Again, I'll say Ritzer or IGNU will suffice your requirement, or even, but again, as I was saying, you should be having limited resources, but revising them more. So you can read Ritzer, you can read Harlambos. I have seen even people not reading Ritzer is also fine, but then Harlambos should be done very properly. Harlambos is called Bible of Sociology for paper 1. Only one book suffices most of your requirement. No, we have 2 Harlambos. If you are scared of the big one, go with the smaller one, that is pinkish in color. It's pink color book, the older version, that is also good. So either of it. But Harlambos should be read, no doubt. Selected topics, not the entire book, obviously selected pages. That's why on the day 1 of the class, I often say that Harlambos, these many pages you have to read, not the entire book. Only the pages. These are the pages which you have to refer to. Then stratification and mobility, again one topic where you get question in short note also, and as a question which you have to pick up. Very interesting topic, you can do it from Harlambos. Then politics and society, very important. Look at the topics, are not these things very important from GS point of view also? Civil societies, ideologies, nation, state, citizenship, democracy. So here we'll understand what is democracy, why democracy was needed In fact, there is one wonderful book that is called Wisdom of Crowds. Wisdom of Crowds, that signifies ki how, when the sample size is bigger, your decision is more likely to be correct. That is which facilitate democracy. So you know a lot about democracy. I have seen people, they read polity, they know Lakshmikant in and out, but unse पूछ लो भाई सब state क्या होता है? What is the difference between nation and state? Is India really a nation? They can't, and this kind of question has been asked even in prelims. They've asked what is the state? Is India really a state? Is India really a nation or a nation state? What is citizenship? If I ask you one fundamental question, आपने बहुत सारे articles पढ़े, अभी article आप शुरू कर दोगे, article 6, 11 or all these kind of things. But if I ask you what is citizenship? What defines citizenship? And that's why I said analysis is very important. Any term, be it GS or your optional, if it's coming for more than 10 times, you should know how to define it. अभी मैं इस क्लास में पूछूं, कितने लोग पॉलिटी पढ़ चुके हो? चलो बताओ, you have read polity. Don't worry, ऐसा कुछ यहाँ पे you are not going to be hanged. If I ask you, what is justice? Can you define it? If not, something is wrong in your preparation strategy. और अगर आपको लगता है कि मैं सिर्फ constitution provision पढ़ के I will get into the job, you will never, trust me. That's what I said, precision is needed. You know n number of things, judicial review कैसे होता है, justice वर्मा केस हो सकता है पूरा रटाओ, but you don't know what is justice. And whether justice is a noun or a verb. अगर ये जवाब नहीं है आपके पास तो something is missing. Something is missing. Wonderful thing in this, now you know, here we will understand what is the basic term, what exactly power means, what bureaucracy is, why pressure groups, why political parties, what is nation state. So wonderful topic from the examination point of view and from GS point of view. If anyone has done this topic properly, trust me, you are bound to score better even in essay. Why you don't score good in essay? Because you think just writing flowery quotes and statement will suffice. There should be clarity in your thoughts. There should be clarity, what you're saying, what you mean to say. This is called integrity. Integrity is that what you're saying, you mean it. And that will be visible if you are clear on your thoughts. That's why I'm saying don't clutter. What do you call? I'm borrowing a word from Shekhar Gupta, cut the clutter. That's very important. That is very important. Ki don't just think that just accumulating a number of facts and number of quotes will suffice. That works once you have clarity of thoughts. In fact, I was wondering, I was just reading Satyam other day, he was saying, ki, I forgot all the quotes, yet I scored better in essay. Why? Because clarity was there. So, if you have clarity of thoughts, and this topic is wonderful from that point of view. Then, religion and society, again, very important topic. From one question in paper 1, and this understanding is useful in paper 2 and GS also, because in GS you have topic like communism, and secularism and all. There are people talking about secularism, talking about communalism, but what exactly the fine line is, that is not clear to them. So this topic is useful here also, in paper 2 also, because in paper 2 they every year ask question from religion topic somewhere or the other. And obviously in GS also one compulsory question, question number 20 or 19 of your paper 1, GS paper 1 is something which belongs to religion and these kind of things, applied issues. Ninth topic is systems of kinship. Here, this topic is again in paper 1 as well as paper 2. When you know what is kinship, what is family. In paper 1 you understand the concept, and in paper 2 you apply the concept. Like here you understand what is kinship, there you will understand what is kinship system of India by Iravati Karve. Iravati Karve, that how India is having different types of kinship systems in different part of the country. So this topic is again very good. Like they have asked question, do you think live-in is replacing marriage? Do you think that marriage has got changed? These kind of questions they are asking, where they want to understand whether you're aware of what exactly these things are, what is the role of it, and what are the contemporary trends. So again, good from question 1 here, and might be useful in paper 2 as well. This topic again, 10th topic, is very, very significant, where almost one compulsory question, one question full length, And if you understand this topic, trust me, in the changing multipolar world, this topic that how the world is changing is of enormous significance. Because this will widen your understanding. दुनिया बहुत तेजी से बदल रही है. There is one term called development dependency. What are sociological theories of change? Development dependency, almost every year they ask. Why? Because this explains the new emerging world order. दुनिया जितनी तेजी से बदल रही है, we are in a supply chain crisis. अब सोचिए, you are calculating war. आपको पता है 1.2 billion a day is what Israel is spending in war. How many days they can sustain with it? It's almost 4% of their GDP, if I have to calculate that way. That means they can't sustain this war for more than 15 days. What all Iran has to wait for them to get exhausted. Development dependency is a wonderful theory which would understand the changing world order, that how it is and what are the new things coming up, what are the agents of social change. Again, Indian bureaucracy is not having the role of just law and order, but to make a new India. And to make anything new, you have to understand that if I have to bring this change, what are the agents of change? If I have to make a modern India, you should need what is called the agent of social change. That's why every year, and education is one of the very good source of social change. Education is one of the very good source. That's why Mao Zedong once said, give me 30 years and complete control on education. I will make the world the way you want. I often say one of my all-time favorite example, Lee Kuan made Singapore from a drug addict country to the country with highest per capita income. And Singapore have no resources. Pani bhi Malaysia se mangate hain. The only advantage they had what is called Strait of Malacca. I don't know how much of you are knowing about geography part. Now, Lee Kuan understood how education can bring that change. It's a classical example that just change the education system of your country and make the new world from third world to the first. This is what Singapore is. So we'll talk about all these in classrooms, these kind of examples. Again, it's a precision. It's your fine tuning. This is where you score better. So don't try to borrow the concept. Try to evolve with the concept, that what exactly the things are. And then science, technology, again, look, AI. So they are asking question how AI can bring social change, what kind of social change, and these kind of things. So if you see quickly, topic number 10, or I say chronological order, topic number 4, topic number 3, topic number 10, topic number 7, then topic 5, 6, that is work and economic life and certification. This is the order. अगर कोई बहुत जल्दी में है, बहुत टाइम नहीं है, कभी नहीं पढ़ा और ऑप्शनल देना है, तो अब कई बार ऐसे ही बच्चे आते हैं कि प्रीलिम्स हो गया सर, अब क्या करें, ऑप्शनल तो हमने पढ़ा भी नहीं था, सोचा कि प्रीलिम्स के बाद पढ़ेंगे. तो एफ एन एडवाइस, एक काम करो, थिंकर्स पढ़ लो, टॉपिक 10 पढ़ लो, टॉपिक 7 पढ़ लो, टॉपिक 3 पढ़ लो. एटलीस्ट डू देम प्रॉपरली सो दैट यू इंक्रीज योर प्रोबेबिलिटी. अगर उसके बाद भी स्कोप बच रहा है, देन गो विद टॉपिक 6 and 8. So this is the priority. Topic 4, topic 10, topic 3. ये तो जरूर होने चाहिए. अगर आपने ये 3 टॉपिक ठीक से कर लिए, तो you are already 120 plus. And then rest of the topics can be managed. So that is how we got paper 1. As I was telling you, paper 1, the best source to start with is Nitin Sangwan and read Harlombos. These 2 books will suffice. Keep your resources limited. For thinkers, you may refer to Ritzer as a reference book. As a reference book means once you have done it from Harlombos and then you feel like reading something else for value addition, you can go to the Ritzer. Go to the Ritzer. Try to understand the concepts and try to apply them more instead of just mugging up the things from here and there. Please, another mistake some of the students are doing, they think sociology is chronology or bibliography. Just only giving names of the thinker will suffice. If you are giving name of 10 thinkers in one question, it's not the guarantee that you are bound to score better. Yes, obviously saying with the help of thinker makes your answer better, but your answer should not be bibliography just. Ki randomly you are just giving the name and quoting their statement. It should be relevant to your questions. Or ma'am, have already discussed about all those things. That's why I have not gone that part ki while writing answers, what should be kept in mind, how to manage thinkers. So obviously naming thinker in sociology is good, no doubt about it. On average, we say for 15-20 marks question, there should be 5-6 thinkers name, and that will come naturally. Don't try to mug it up. It will come naturally. आपको अपने सभी दोस्तों के नाम याद रहता है जिनसे आपकी ठीक बनती है. आपको नाम रटने की जरूरत नहीं पड़े. नाम सिर्फ उनकी रटने की जरूरत पड़े जिनसे बनती नहीं, जिनसे कभी कभी मिलते हैं. सो ऐसा नहीं है कि these thinkers are alien. If you get acquainted with them, if you get acquainted with their idea, if you develop familiarity with them, the name will come naturally and handy in your answer writing. So that is what exactly paper 1 is all about. So again, I hope I tried to have some validation, because already ma'am have given you elaborated detail that about the technical part, that how to write an answer, what are the dimensions of it. That's why I thought of how I could be useful, quickly telling you those things on which you often overlook. So make sure from here onwards, in fact I insist, and many students had said, sir आपका ये help बहुत काम का था हमारे, जहाँ भी आप पढ़ते हो मेज पे कहीं भी वहाँ पे बड़ा बड़ा लिख लीजिए, this is a not an academic pursuit, it is a test. It is a test. Again, before I wind up, एक छोटा सा एग्जाम्पल आपको बताओ, यूपीएससी कितने मेटिकुलस हो सकती है, और आपको लग रहा है कि वो टेस्ट सही से नहीं कर पा रहे, वो दे विल सर्च द डायमंड इन द कोल्ड. यू हैव टू बी वन. I can give you one quick example. Dr. Kalam gave, you all know, gave the NDA test and failed. He was 9th in the list, 8 people were recommended. His test went well. उन्हें लगा था वो recommend हो जाएंगे. But he was a bit surprised कि उनका नाम नहीं हुआ, जो भी था. Once he became president, as a president you are the head of defense. तो उन्होंने अपना dossier मंगवाया. Military keep the record of all the candidates, army keep the record of all those candidates. उन्होंने अपना डोजियर मंगाया कि आखिर मेरा टेस्ट बहुत बढ़िया हुआ था, सब कुछ अच्छा था, फिर मुझे रिजेक्ट क्यों किया, और मेरे ऊपर वाले सभी को रिकमेंड कर दिया, मुझे नहीं किया. You know what was written in his dossier? A cream de la cream candidate, means first class candidate, but cannot kill anyone. अब आर्मी की रिक्वायरमेंट है टू किल. आप कितने भी अच्छे कैंडिडेट हो, इफ यू कैन नॉट किल एनीवन, आई कांट रिक्रूट इन आर्मी. अब अंदाजा लगा लीजिए हाउ मेटिकुलस यूपीएससी इज. वो ढूंढ लेते हैं. यू कांट बी फूल देम, ट्रस्ट मी. सो द ओनली ऑप्शन इज बी वन. एंड वो हो सकता है, सिर्फ 2 बातें ध्यान रखनी है. डोंट गो स्लॉपी कि हाँ ये बुक भी पढ़ लिया, वो बुक भी पढ़ लिया, अंडरलाइन भी कर लिया. हाउ फनी इज यू अंडरलाइन थिंग्स एंड देन यू रीओपन एंड गेट सरप्राइज, मैंने अंडरलाइन किया था इसको. That means you were so not there when you're underlining. जब आप शायद उसको कर रहे थे तो you're not there. Otherwise, if you have actually understood it, I don't think there is any reason you will forget it completely. हाँ, factual data might be missing, and that's the best part of sociology. I often say कि यहाँ पे बहुत कुछ रटने वाला नहीं है, except a few names, once understood forever. That is what paper 1 is, and that's why paper 1 is doable. Look, पाते 180 is average. Paper 1 में 170, 180 is the average if you see across the selected candidates. और 120 से नीचे पेपर में मुझे अभी तक कोई नहीं दिखा. If you got some acquaintance, some understanding, if you have done even thinker properly, 120 plus is assured. That's where strategically the subject might be useful to you. So this was a little about, because I know my job was a bit tough कि मैं नया क्या ऐड करूं आपके साथ डिस्कशन में, besides what has been said, क्योंकि मैम have already discussed all those things कि हाँ कैसे कैसे करना चाहिए, क्या अप्रोच होना चाहिए, आंसर्स कैसे लिखने चाहिए. In fact, we'll work on that also. If you're reading on your own, you should work on that कि आंसर्स लिखिए, hub and spoke मॉडल बनाइए, क्योंकि you have limited words and you have to say a lot. So make pie diagram, make flow chart, that definitely helps, that makes your answers more visible. But वो सब तब आता है बॉस once you have content. अगर आपने कंटेंट पे काम नहीं किया and you're working too much of technicalities, it's not going to help, trust me. मैं फिर कहूंगा कि उन 7 मिनट्स में सिर्फ वही काम में आता है जिसको आपने कई बार रिवाइज किया. पता नहीं आप जानते हैं इसको कि नहीं, आज भी जब पेनल्टी शूट आउट होता है तो हर शूट आउट करने वाला सिर्फ अपने डेटा को देखता है कि मैंने सबसे ज़्यादा शूट कहाँ किए, उस पर डिसीजन लेता है। क्योंकि इन दो 7 मिनट्स आपको 7 मिनट में क्वेश्चन पढ़ना भी है, समझना भी है, टू राइट इट ऑल्सो। देयर यू कैन मेक मच स्ट्रैटेजीज, योर कंटेंट इज गोइंग टू बी हेल्पफुल। हाँ, यू नो दिस क्वेश्चन, यू नो दीज थिंग्स, एंड दिस इज वॉट यू कैन राइट। एंड इन जनरल ऑल्सो, what I believe, in general also, if you know the content, it's easy to understand कि मेरे पास कितने words और कितना लिखना है। Do answer previous question paper, that is also needed, क्योंकि subject matter is limited in paper 1. Paper 1 में जिसने PYQ ठीक से कर लिया, उसका स्कोर बेहतर हो जाता है, because things are repetitive. So आपके पास 2 किताबें जरूर होनी चाहिए. You should have Harlombus, the new one or the old one. New one is bluish in color, a bigger one, but I have seen कि उसमें भी selected chapters के xeroxes available हैं. They are making xeroxes available of selected topics. आप उसको भी ले सकते हो. और the older pink one, उसकी PDF available है on the websites. आप उसको भी पढ़ सकते हो, selected chapters. You should have one, and you should have one PYQ, so that you can see topic wise what kind of questions has been asked. Answering question is something which definitely gives you skills that how to present things better. Don't get too much into this paraphernalia. But again, I'll say कि what I have found with those who got selected and those who could not, दोनों ही ज़रूरी हैं. कि जो paraphernalia में बहुत लगा रहा है, ऐसे करना है, वैसे करना है, ये करना है, वो करना है, there are people that do. So I believe, I like one line of Elon Musk. Elon Musk ने एक बार कहा था, मोटिवेशन होता क्या मुझे समझ में नहीं आया. काम करना तो काम करना है, इसमें मोटिवेशन का क्या मतलब. मुझसे कोई कहे मुझे मोटिवेशन चाहिए क्लास पढ़ाने के लिए, इसका मतलब मैं काम करना ही नहीं चाहता. तो प्लीज डोंट बी फूल योरसेल्फ. अगर आपको लग रहा है तैयारी के लिए मोटिवेशन चाहिए, तो फिर आप एक्चुअली तैयारी करना ही नहीं चाहते, फिर अपने आपको बेवकूफ़ बना रहे हो. ट्रस्ट मी. और दूसरे का क्या ही नुकसान करोगे, अपना नुकसान मत करो यार, कम से कम. दिस इज व्हाट यू शुड बी कंसिडरिंग. सो आई होप दिस सेशन वाज ऑफ सम हेल्प टू यू. थैंक यू एंड ऑल द बेस्ट. वर्क हार्ड. सभी कह रहे हैं ये करना वो करना, आई एम जस्ट सेइंग वर्क हार्ड. थैंक यू.
The UPSC exam doesn't defeat you with difficulty. It defeats you with confusion, lack of clarity, lack of direction, and preparation that feels scattered. At Vision IAS Delhi, we rebuild your UPSC journey with structure, strategy, and support that doesn't waver. Get complete coverage of GS, CSAT, and essays step by step. PT 365 and Mains 365, so current affairs stop feeling like chaos. Personal mentorship, not just advice, but actual strategy guidance. Test feedback loops, because growth begins where guesswork ends. Toppers didn't just prepare, they built the right foundation. Now it's your turn. This isn't just a course, it's where clarity, consistency, and confidence begin. The UPSC exam doesn't defeat you with difficulty. It defeats you with confusion, lack of clarity, lack of direction, and preparation that feels scattered. At Vision IAS Delhi, we rebuild your UPSC journey with structure, strategy, and support that doesn't waver. Get complete coverage of GS, CSAT, and essays step by step. PT 365 and Mains 365, so current affairs stop feeling like chaos. Personal mentorship, not just advice, but actual strategy guidance. Test feedback loops, because growth begins where guesswork ends. Toppers didn't just prepare, they built the right foundation. Now it's your turn. This isn't just a course, it's where clarity, consistency, and confidence begin.